It's Friday, May 15th. Today, a trail of destruction. The major windstorm that struck Manitoba has left damage to roofs, trees, and light poles, causing several outages. Also, the new charges facing a Manitoba teen accused of plotting an attack on his own school in coordination with another youth on the East Coast. And a new chapter in Manitoba's science education, how the curriculum is changing this year and why some educators have concerns about the rollout. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Daniel Halmerson, filling in for Rochelle Legacy today. It's Friday, May 15th, and we have a great show. Ainsley McPhail's out in Assiniboine Park, hopefully mounted to the ground with the wind still playing a factor today. But she's there learning about the challenge of life. It's coming up on June 13th. It's a big Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation. In fact, last year alone, they raised $1.8 million. And of course, we are heading into a long weekend, folks, and
we're blowing ourselves. No, the winds are blowing us into the long weekend.
How's it looking out there?
Still intense. Those winds at the moment, they're out of the southwest, gusting to 56 kilometers per hour. So yes, that dust is still flying around airborne, and it's looking poor out there as a result. Visibility is reduced, and yes, the camera's shaking. You're going to be shaken. Everything needs to be tied down on a day like today. 16 degrees, so temperature-wise, we're actually well above seasonal. Normal lows would be around 6, so 10 above that to kick off the day. The sun is shining. You just can't see it behind that layer of dust. And those southwest winds gusting to 56 clicks with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 50%. So yes, dust still to be a factor today. Rain desperately needed, although yesterday it was just dirt basically that was falling from the sky. Dirty rain. There you can see precipitation showing up on the satellite image. We will welcome any kind of precipitation, dirty or not, because it will help kind of keep the dust at bay. But what we're going to be seeing is more than just some showers, flurries, snowfall across northern Manitoba, and you are under winter storm warnings. And then here in the south, it's the dust warning due to those strong winds. Now, Winnipeg is not included in that, but I don't want you to be fooled by like the cutoff of these borders, because the wind doesn't really respect those borders at all. We're still going to notice those intense winds. They might not be quite as strong here in the southeast as the southwest, where they could be up to 90 kilometers per hour, but later today up to 80 wind gusts here in the southeast. So all of us, those intense winds. This system is going to hang around. Northern Manitoba will see it in flurry form. Central Manitoba might start to see that into the evening overnight, and it could linger into the weekend as well. We will see those winds tapering off eventually. By tomorrow, they won't be as much of an issue, but today, absolutely getting blown off our feet, and these slightly cooler temperatures settling in after today.
A major change is coming to Manitoba classrooms. A new science curriculum is being rolled out this fall, but as CTV's Joseph Bernacki reports, critics say teachers aren't ready to make the switch.
Manitoba tutors say students across the province need more help than ever, especially in science.
So it's not just, the basic memorization of the aspects of science, like the definitions or the recall or what the formulas are, but it's really the difficulty with the critical thinking, the application-based problems.
Arn says students are still falling through the cracks since the COVID-19 pandemic.
Grade 5, 6, or 7 during the pandemic years, those are like some strong, foundational years for math, where if you do go into the science in grade 10, 11, 12, a lot of science is math foundations.
This as a new science curriculum is being rolled out this fall. Arn says there are pros and cons to the changes, but she hopes it will all lead to academic success. Latika Risinghani, an assistant professor at the University of Winnipeg, says more than 90 teachers have been piloting the new program since 2024. She's been getting feedback and says it will take time to adapt.
When we think about curriculum, it's not just a single piece of document. To make it translated into lived experiences for students, teachers need to be well supported, and that's where this research comes into place.
But that early feedback also includes concerns.
So the number of teachers who piloted the curriculum used a lot of adjectives like unclear, vague, inconsistent, and so there are still some difficulties with the new curriculum.
Clausen says teachers aren't clear on how to use Indigenous ways of knowing in class. Her members say limited resources and a lack of training may impact success rates.
That some of the vague language that is used be looked over to make sure that teachers who are new to the profession and are looking at the curriculum for the first time really understand what their role is.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV News reached out to Tracy Schmidt, Minister of Education, for comment. A spokesperson from the minister's office sent a statement saying, in part, the curriculum is designed to boost real-world problem solving and input will be used to refine it in the future. Well, Manitoba has been dealing with a major windstorm that's left a trail of destruction in its wake. Take a look at this video sent in by a viewer in Russell. As you can see, the roof of his mobile home was ripped off by powerful winds. This wasn't the only location to see damage. In Niverville, trees were uprooted and crashed into sheds and light poles. Here it caused the line to arc and the tree caught fire. Manitoba Hydro and the fire department were on scene last night dealing with the damage. The Hantavirus outbreak is impacting more Canadians, with more than 24 additional people being contacted for low-risk exposure.
Taken a precautionary approach, and we have deemed them to be minimal or low risk as opposed to no risk. The provinces and territories, therefore, are undertaking the work to contact these 26 individuals and provide them with information and monitor them throughout this time.
Officials are now working to contact 26 Canadians who were on a flight with a known hantavirus case linked to that deadly outbreak on a cruise ship. They're calling it a precautionary approach, as these people did not sit near or come into direct contact with the infected person. Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Joss Reimer, says they are not required to isolate unless recommended by their province or territory. Officials have not released where in Canada these people live. Authorities in the U.S. have charged 13 people accused of trafficking guns into Canada.
If you traffic firearms across borders, or if you help arm criminal organizations, federal law enforcement will find you, investigate you, and prosecute you.
It's alleged dozens of illegal guns were moved from the U.S. into Canada through tribal lands, which sit on both sides of the border. Some of these weapons were traced to crime scenes in Canada. Court documents say the scheme ran from 2021 to at least 2024. 5 people have pleaded guilty, while 8 others were indicted. If convicted, they could face decades in prison. The province is looking at having a commissioner or regulator enforce its proposed ban on social media and AI chatbots for children under 16.
Would have the ability to say, you're out of compliance with law in Manitoba. Let's talk about how you can get back into compliance. Then, of course, if that doesn't happen, you have the avenue of fines and other remedial actions.
Premier Wab Kinew announced last month there would be a ban to prevent children from certain online platforms, and he made it clear earlier this week that a lot of details have yet to be worked out, such as how to prevent kids from passing themselves off as older or the mechanism to get tech companies to comply. Some critics have said the federal government is best positioned to enact a ban, and while Kinew says he's willing to work with Ottawa, he says Manitoba already has jurisdiction in certain areas.
Contract law, very clearly under provincial jurisdiction. Consumer protection is also under provincial jurisdiction. And of course, we also have unfair business practices, which we regulate at the provincial level. And so these tools, among others, I think, give us a framework for action.
Drafting legislation would take time, and the Premier has said it could take next year before measures are in place. The legislature is set to break for the summer in less than 3 weeks. The United States government has recently released a treasure trove of previously classified UFO reports, and some new reports may have been generated right here in Manitoba Wednesday night as a strange light filled the sky. This time-lapse video shot by a security camera shows the light streaking across the sky. It was visible for about 10 minutes and was witnessed by several people across the province. But they don't need to worry about getting a visit by the men in black to keep them quiet about what they saw. According to astronomer Scott Young from the planetarium, there is a very terrestrial explanation for what it is.
It turns out that it was the body of a Chinese rocket that was launched a few hours earlier. As the boosters go up, once they're sort of done their job, they vent out any extra fuel before they re-enter and burn up in the atmosphere.
Scott Young says space companies are using a new type of fuel, which is a combination of methane and liquid oxygen, and the chemical composition is perfect for creating these kinds of displays. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around Portage Avenue near Polo Park. Not much to show you out there right now. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400. And we're joined now by our Ainsley McPhail out at Assiniboine Park this morning. What's going on there, Ainsley?
Good morning. We're previewing Challenge for Life happening on June 13th. There's a couple of options. So if 20K isn't for you, you can walk a 5K with your family or do 200 minutes of exercise. Now, I know that also sounds intimidating, but I have been assured that in our next segment, we will learn that there are breaks and snacks and just a great opportunity to rally together around cancer research and supporting so many Manitobans. They've raised over $20 million for this campaign over the years, and so far they have 700 plus registered. Let's get that past 1,200, Manitoba. I know that you're watching, and clearly it's such a very good cause.
Awesome. Looking forward to hearing more about that. And we have Terry up on the roof. Terry, how are you doing up there?
I could blow away. Honestly, I feel like I could, like, look at the, woo! Like the squirrels, the flying squirrels, that would be me. Yeah, I just came out here to eat dust, because why not? It is intensely windy, and that's going to be the case throughout the day today. These winds should start to taper off into the evening, overnight, and maybe be on the lighter side for tomorrow. We could hope. Until that happens, yes, it is going to be wicked, with the winds even stronger off to the west, up to 90K wind gusts through much of southwestern Manitoba, and wind warnings in place. Nothing like that issued in Winnipeg. We were under wind warnings, but they've been lifted. But don't be fooled, we're still in for up to 80K wind gusts. Now, we're going to do it under mainly dry conditions. There's the possibility of showers, but it's slim. Whereas central and northern Manitoba, that's where all of the activity is as far as precipitation goes. Winter storm warnings in effect throughout northern Manitoba, some freezing rain in areas just into the more central southern northern Manitoba, if that makes sense. So freezing rain, flurries, that activity will continue throughout the day. You're still going to deal with some intense winds. As far as temperatures go, nothing wrong with that. 20 degrees is seasonal, and that's exactly where we're headed today. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
4 new charges have been laid against a teen accused of plotting an attack on a rural Manitoba school, the most serious of which are conspiracy to commit murder and counseling the offense of murder. In March, RCMP said they were alerted by Interpol and the FBI about an online conversation between 2 youth, the boy from Rivers, Manitoba, and a 15-year-old girl from Nova Scotia. The alert said they were allegedly planning to simultaneously attack their respective schools, although is not believed to be imminent. On March 16th, the investigation led Mounties to arrest the boy while he was on the bus to school, while the girl was arrested near her home on the East Coast. At the time, both teens were charged with uttering threats, and the girl was also charged with conspiracy to commit murder. RCMP say they executed search warrants at 2 properties associated with the boy here in Manitoba, seizing electronic devices and 2 firearms owned by a relative. The boy is also facing 2 additional charges of uttering threats. He was rearrested at the Manitoba Youth Centre where he is being held. Neither of the accused can be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, and none of the charges have been tested in court. The male suspect is scheduled to make a court appearance June 4th. The City of Winnipeg and the RM of Springfield are asking a judge to dismiss a lawsuit alleging they were negligent in the response to a major grass fire on Gun Road last year. On May 12, 2025, a grass fire surrounded a property used to rent and store vehicles and ultimately engulfed hundreds of vehicles on site. According to the lawsuit, the fire turned the vehicles into little more than melted metal and toxic substances. Damages are alleged to exceed $407,000. The statement of claim alleges the municipality's fire departments made a negligent operational decision by failing to suppress the flames consuming the vehicles. It claims they had additional resources and opportunities to fight the blaze more aggressively. However, in a statement of defense, the municipalities argue they acted reasonably and allege the company was operating a vehicle deconstruction business with little or no regard for fire safety. And the RM says given the dangerous chemicals on site, it was too dangerous to mount a direct attack, and it denies it had the resources to extinguish the fire more quickly than it did. None of the claims have been tested in court. There are grave concerns about funding small-town cemeteries here in Manitoba. Rural church groups with dwindling membership are struggling to upkeep their cemeteries. And as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, those responsibilities are now being paid for by local taxpayers.
The grass is mowed and the grounds are clean. This Shoal Lake Cemetery is looked after by the Yellowhead municipality. But it wasn't always that way.
That's going to be a big burden on the municipal budget.
Up until this year, it was maintained by St. Josephat's Ukrainian Catholic Church in town. But over the decades, the area's population and church membership dwindled to the point the church could no longer tend to the cemetery. Yellowhead Municipality Mayor Merv Starzyk should know he's also the church's treasurer.
The church submitted a letter to the municipality and asked council if they would assume the maintenance costs of it, and it did pass at council.
It's not just this one. Yellowhead is responsible for a dozen cemeteries. The maintenance duties for half of those were handed over to the municipality over the years. Starzyk says the maintenance costs are rising like everything else, putting a financial strain on the local government.
If it was just one cemetery, that wouldn't be bad, but there's many cemeteries.
And the mayor says this is happening in other municipalities too. In some cases, the churches close, leaving the cemetery behind. His council put forward a motion to the Association of Manitoba Municipalities convention last year, calling on the province for financial help.
We have to have the province get back to the table with us to address the funding issue so that cemeteries don't go into disarray.
The province points out it has increased municipal operating money by 2% every year. Plus, there is a $62 million fund available too.
We feel that there's opportunities for municipalities to use some of this new funding and additional funding to address some of these issues.
Mayor Starzyk cautions this might not be the end. He anticipates more churches will be asking for an intervention.
Actually, I expect we're going to get more requests.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Shoal Lake.
With less than a month to go until the start of the FIFA World Cup, organizers have announced the performers for the first ever halftime show during the final match. They enlisted some high-profile help for the reveal.
BTS. Wait, who's on the phone, Elmo?
BTS. Elmo has him on speed dial.
Hey, Elmo. Hey, Chris. Hey, Cookie. V, RM, Sugar, J-Hope, Jimin, Jungkook, and Jin. Elmo and I were wondering if you guys might want to join us on July 19th.
We'll be there, Chris, for sure.
Thank you so much. Okay.
That was K-pop superstars BTS confirming their plans to perform at halftime as part of a skit with Coldplay's Chris Martin and characters from The Muppets and Sesame Street. Also slated to take the stage at New York, New Jersey Stadium that day are Madonna and Shakira. Shakira's song Die Die is the official song of the 2026 World Cup. And some road closures to remind you about this morning. On Portage Avenue, the westbound middle lane will be closed from Carleton to Edmonton following the rush. The southbound curb and middle lane on Main will be closed between Bannatyne and McDermott Avenue, and the southbound curb lane on Maryland Street will be closed from Portage to Broadway. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400.
Looking now through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Those are dirty raindrops on our camera. Yesterday, it fell out, rained dirt. There is so much dust in the air right now, and it's still going to be blowing away. But still, dirty rain beats no rain, because what we need is something to kind of help keep that dust at bay, even if it does include falling with more dust particles in it. Temperature-wise, we are well above seasonal, about 10 degrees. In fact, when 6 is a normal low, we're coming in at 16 degrees and seeing similar temperatures all throughout southern Manitoba in those mid-teens or high single digits through more of west central Manitoba. We're starting to run into some heavier clouds and a bit of precipitation now, and further up into northern Manitoba. Precipitation in flurry form is going to be considerably colder, as you can see by the temperatures here, but winter storm warnings are in place throughout northern Manitoba. And then we've got the wind warnings or dust storm warnings in and around southwestern Manitoba. And we too, though we're not included in those dust warnings here in Winnipeg, will experience that dust whipping around on winds up to 70 kilometers per hour. 15 degrees, I think it might drop off before it starts to rise again, although it could just hold steady. Either way, we're in for highs around 20 degrees this afternoon, which is bang on normal for this time of year. So nothing wrong with the temperatures or what we're going to experience in that sense. It's the conditions leaving so much to be desired, with these intense winds expected for another day at least. Now, tonight those winds might taper off. They'll be on the lighter side for tomorrow, we can hope, but we will likely experience some cooler temperatures after this. We will welcome any of that precipitation that's showing up toward the middle to latter part of the long weekend, even if we do see some flurries tucked in there as we're dropping. Director Kim, she's like, huh? I know. But compared to all of the dust, I'll actually welcome a little bit of snow if it keeps that dust at bay. And we will be seeing some sunshine and some warmer temperatures right on the other side of that. And speaking of dust, it was looking almost apocalyptic yesterday in some parts of the province. This particular picture taken at sundown out in the Hartney-Souris area. Thanks to Barbara for this. And keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Keep the kids creative with this Your Morning Winnipeg contest. Crockadoodle Keniston is holding some kids' summer art classes, and the activities include painting, ice cream gnomes, turtles, watermelons, and tropical geckos. This week we are giving away one prize pack with a selection of 4 classes from June 23rd to July 7th. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca, and don't forget to enter the keyword paint. Good luck. If you're in the market for a used vehicle, the number of kilometers on the odometer is likely something you're taking into consideration. However, a new report suggests odometer theft is on, or fraud rather, is on the rise. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
CTV News has done many stories on odometer fraud. Francisco Jardim bought a truck with 187,000 kilometers. Its actual mileage was 455,000.
I feel ripped off.
Dennis Estevez bought a vehicle with 184,000 kilometers. Its true mileage was 320,000.
Clearly it was rolled back.
A new report from Carfax found last year in Canada it flagged more than 20,000 vehicles with rolled back odometers. They suspect the actual number that's been tampered with is much higher. With new technology, it's easy to do.
You can go to Amazon and spend $200 or $300 and buy a tool to plug into your car and manipulate the electronic odometer all day long. So that does not protect anyone.
The Ontario Motor Vehicle Industry Council, OMVIC, says its latest report shows more than 2,300 dealers, salespersons, and curbsiders were charged last year, resulting in $1.9 million in fines. About 1,500 cases involved curbsiders, and many of those involved odometer fraud.
They are going to try to make that vehicle look better than it is, and they're going to want to sell it for more.
The good news is that it's not just an odometer that records a vehicle's mileage. Most cars now come with a black box and several electronic modules that also record how far a car has traveled. A mechanic with a scan tool can find the true mileage fairly easily. To avoid rolled back odometers, purchase a used vehicle information package and a Carfax vehicle history report. Check the seller's ID to make sure they're the lawful owner of the car. Ask for service records and have the vehicle checked by your mechanic. While manufacturers could do more to stop odometer scams, Carfax says criminals are never far behind.
As quickly as the OEMs improve their technology, the hackers are figuring it out.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
The Royal Canadian Mint unveiled a new $1 coin Thursday celebrating the World Cup in Canada. The coin was designed by Canadian artist Glenn Green and features an orange and red maple leaf mosaic and a soccer ball with Toronto and Vancouver written underneath. It will go into circulation right away. And wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra $20,000 or $20 grand. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is wallet. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter wallet with your info for your chance to win. The Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Good luck.
Now these winds will have you shaking all over. It is nasty out there still as they're gusting out of the west-southwest to 73 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity sits at 52%, but 16 degrees. We are well above seasonal. Nothing wrong with the temperatures that we'll experience throughout the day today. Not here in the south anyway. It will be considerably colder through central and northern Manitoba, and while the precipitation doesn't read on the satellite image, this is not all we're seeing. Yes, there's going to be some rain through central Manitoba and areas just north of us, but it's snow throughout much of northern Manitoba, and as a result, winter storm warnings have been issued. There's also some freezing rain warnings, and that'll kind of be for that more central north stretch. So a lot of activity as far as precipitation goes through northern Manitoba. We got a little bit of that dirty rain yesterday, and there's the possibility that we get clipped with some showers, which we will welcome, helping to keep some of that dust at bay. But otherwise, it does look like the bulk of the precipitation will be happening in areas to the north of us, and we'll just be dealing with those winds throughout the day today. At times, they could be gusting to 80 clicks, rising to a high of 20. That is, in fact, normal for this time of year. 20 degrees a seasonal high, 6 a normal low, and we'll be falling just below that with these winds still strong overnight. Partly cloudy conditions tonight. Tomorrow, a little more sunshine and less in the way of the winds. We will keep our fingers crossed that that does in fact hold true. 9 degrees, so yes, the cooler temperatures will settle in. Maybe some precipitation, which we will welcome in any form, even if that form does include some possible flurries early next week.
Mounties are providing more details about the human remains found in the Interlake community of Riverton, and they have a suspect in custody. RCMP say the remains are those of 39-year-old Daryl Lambert, who was reported missing March 17th. The force previously said Lambert was last seen 2 days earlier at a home in the community, and his vehicle was found near the Riverton Motor Inn. The investigation led police to execute a search warrant on a property in Riverton Tuesday, and Lambert's body was found inside a vehicle. A 41-year-old man was arrested at the scene and is charged with second-degree murder. RCMP wouldn't say how the two men knew each other or how Lambert died. The Premier is promising to expand paramedic training and childcare spaces for healthcare workers in Western Manitoba. Wab Canoe says his government will provide $115,000 to Assiniboine College for 32 new primary care paramedic training seats. It's part of what's being called a rotating rural training model, with the first cohort beginning in Dauphin. Additionally, he's pledging to create 148 new childcare spaces at Brandon Regional Health Centre, with a projected opening for next summer. It's all part of an effort to shore up healthcare staffing in the region. In a statement, the president of the Manitoba Association of Healthcare Professionals writes in part, this new PCP education program is a start, but more training expansion is urgently needed to match Saskatchewan's 252 education seats. We can't afford to lose any more experienced paramedics while we wait more than 2 years for new graduates to finish the program. Energy expansion is coming to Canada. Prime Minister Mark Carney outlining a strategy to double our electric grid with a promise of new jobs and energy affordability. But it comes with a huge electric bill, $1 trillion, and as CTV's Abigail Beeman reports, it's not clear who will pay for the development or what it will cost the environment.
The Prime Minister amped up to deliver a long-awaited electricity strategy with a plan to double Canada's capacity.
As our industries expand, our economy grows, AI accelerates, electricity demand in Canada is expected to double by 2050. So we will double our grid.
The government estimates the expansion could add 130,000 high-paying jobs by 2050.
This announcement in electricity, as far as I'm concerned, is the greatest announcement since, well, electricity itself.
Canada's current electrical system is complex and siloed. The Prime Minister concedes it's often easier to trade power with the United States than interprovincially, costing Canada billions.
Tying our grids together, that will be essential, and that's where the federal government has to come in and help the provinces make good choices that work strategically for the nation.
80% of our electricity from non-emitting sources. Most of that's hydroelectricity, some nuclear, and then there is some natural gas that is regionally very important.
Especially important in Western Canada. So to help build and power an expanded grid, Mark Carney is proposing to loosen Trudeau-era regulations to allow a scale-up of natural gas.
It is a betrayal of the years of time that was spent with stakeholders and utilities and Indigenous nations on developing the federal clean electricity regulations.
He re-announced the same electricity plan that the Liberals have used over the last decade to jack up the cost of power bills by 35%.
While the government promises this will eventually lower bills, it pegs the overall price tag of an expansion at more than $1 trillion and couldn't provide any details about a breakdown or who will pay for what.
The Victoria Day weekend is here, and that means businesses as well as some government offices and facilities will be closed or operating on reduced hours. St. Vital Centre, CF Polo Park, Outlet Collection Winnipeg, Kildonan Place, and Garden City Shopping Centre are all open from 11 to 6 on Monday. Grant Park Shopping Centre will be open from noon until 5. Liquor marts in Brandon and Winnipeg will be open from 11 until 6. Holiday Monday hours at rural locations will vary. All Winnipeg civic offices are closed Monday, as are all city libraries. Recycling and garbage will be collected as regularly scheduled for people with Monday as their collection day. Transit operates on a Sunday schedule. The Pan Am Pool, the City Clawson Rec Complex, and the Margaret Grant Pool will be open Monday, all at reduced hours. City-owned golf courses are open from dawn to dusk, weather permitting. The Winnipeg Art Gallery is open from 11 until 5 Monday. The Manitoba Museum opens from 10 to 4. The Canadian Museum for Human Rights will be closed, and full details on Victoria Day hours are up on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. And taking a look at the current traffic situation around Confusion Corner. A little tough to see on the camera there, but looks like a smooth drive. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400. And taking a look at your gas prices in Winnipeg, the average is $1.81, a small drop from yesterday, and the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.64. All this information is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
And Ainsley McPhail is at Assiniboine Park this morning learning about the upcoming Challenge for Life. We'll have that right after the break with more Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by the Better Business Bureau. Research at bbb.org before you buy.
Sometimes when I'm referring to the winds, I'm like, oh, there's a nasty bite to that breeze today. And that's not the case, because our temperatures this morning, they're well above seasonal, 16 degrees. This wind, though, is trying to push me over. I'm gusting to 73 clicks out of the west-southwest. The pressure rising to humidity at 52%, with dust warnings and wind warnings all through southern Manitoba, and Winnipeg not included, but I promise you it'll be equally as busy. I mean, it's a difference between an 80K wind gust that we're expecting here in Winnipeg and 90K wind gusts just further to the west. So yes, windy for everyone. Northern Manitoba is going to be snowy with winter storm warnings in place, or perhaps some freezing rain through more of central Manitoba, but either way it's going to be pretty nasty all across the province, even if our temperatures here in the south are going to be about seasonal. You know, a couple of days back, Ainsley McPhail was at the Canoe Club. It was a gorgeous morning. The sun was shining. The water was so still and beautiful. And I said to Ainsley after the show, how lucky are we to get to work outside on days like today? Well, Ainsley, how lucky are we to get to be outside on days like, oh, you're inside. Sheesh.
I'm inside, yeah. And there's actually, you know what's funny about it? I'm actually kind of hot because there's a fireplace in here. So I'm cruising. I'm having a great time. Thank you so much. Okay, Laura Curtis is joining us now. We're talking about Challenge for Life with Cancer Care Manitoba. And I guess this does happen, rain or shine, though. Tell us about the event.
So Challenge for Life takes place on June 13th, and we're going to be here at the beautiful Assiniboine Park, moving our bodies in support of Manitobans affected by cancer. And I'm going to be participating in the 200-minute workout that day.
Okay, 200 minutes. That sounds really intimidating, but you tell me it's not as bad as it sounds.
It's not as bad as it sounds. I've done it before. It was a lot of fun. It's 7 different workouts, and they're all short, about 20-30 minutes. There's breaks. You can have snacks, grab some water, and if you do it with, people you know and love, it makes it really fun. So I'm on Team Fitual. We've got lots of teams signed up. You could do it with a friend, and it's a really, really great day.
And how many people? Because you have to picture it too, like a lot of community happening here.
Exactly. So we're expecting over 1,000 people for sure at Challenge for Life, and we take up the entire lyric field here. So a lot of activity, a lot of enthusiasm, and just a really positive vibe that day.
Funds going towards cancer care, of course, and that really runs the gamut too. Tell us a little bit about where the funds are allocated to.
So all the funds raised through this event stay in Manitoba. They support research, clinical trials, which lead to new treatments, and really important emotional and physical support programs for cancer patients and their families.
How can people register? Because you're at 700 right now. I want to see that climb.
ChallengeForLife.ca.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cancer Care Manitoba staying with us throughout the morning. Head to a link on our website for more details. Are you up for the 20K?
A look at the early markets. The Dow Jones lost 226 points. The Nasdaq is 359 points lower. The S&P index dropped 62 points. The Canadian dollar decreased to 72.69 cents US. Overseas, the Hang Seng is 426 points down. The Nikkei plunged 1,244 points. 2 men have been arrested on dozens of drug and weapon charges. Last month, as part of a joint effort, police began investigating a 38-year-old man who violated his parole. Officers located and arrested him and a 50-year-old man at a business in the 1000 block of Main Street. Police seized more than a kilogram of fentanyl, more than 10 ounces of meth, 5.5 ounces of cocaine, 8 grams of crack cocaine, and 25 grams of MDMA. They also found a loaded handgun, a stolen rifle, cash, and ammunition. Authorities say the second man also possessed fentanyl and a handgun. Both were detained in custody. The loved ones of a man fatally stabbed in 2024 are still searching for answers on the second anniversary of his death.
2 years is a long time to go without closure, without justice.
Family and friends of Leo Amos Caribou gathered Thursday at Notre Dame Avenue and Isabel Street. It was there 2 years ago. Caribou was stabbed by an unidentified man during a confrontation. No arrests have been made, and his fiancée says the family has received little information about the investigation from police.
She asks all the time, like, did they catch the people who hurt Daddy? And it breaks my heart to have to constantly tell her, no, they haven't found them yet. And just knowing those people are still walking the streets every day, it's so hard on our family.
Police are asking anyone with information about the homicide or who had contact with Caribou to call the homicide unit or Crime Stoppers. U.S. President Donald Trump has wrapped up his visit to China with leaders from both countries, saying they've made progress in stabilizing relations.
This has been an incredible visit. I think a lot of good has come of it. We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries.
President Trump says they talked about Iran and agreed Tehran should not have nuclear weapons. China's president, meantime, once again warned the U.S. mishandling of Taiwan could lead to conflict. Both leaders had warm words for each other during the two-day visit, but there were a few actual deals announced. There was no breakthrough on selling AI chips to China, and although President Trump told Fox News China agreed to order 200 Boeing jets, there's been no confirmation from Beijing. The federal government has issued a travel advisory in response to the situation in the Middle East and potential fuel shortages. Global Affairs says the risk of traveling abroad needs to be considered, calling overseas travel, quote, a personal choice. The advisory says the government's ability to provide assistance to Canadians who end up stranded may be limited. It warns that fuel shortages could lead to flight cancellations and even disrupted access to goods and services, especially for those traveling to or through the Middle East. It says travelers should be prepared to support themselves abroad for longer than their anticipated trip. Parks Canada has laid out its conditions for those wanting to bring boats onto Clear Lake. Until June 7th, motorized boats brought to Clear Lake, which have not been in other waters this year, can register for an annual permit and go into the lake right away. Starting the following day, June 8th, all motorized boats or those which have been in other bodies of water must go into a 45-day quarantine before they're allowed in the lake. Parks Canada staff will be locking and unlocking boats from their trailers with a tag when they leave and enter the water. Non-motorized watercraft such as canoes and paddleboards, along with wet and dry suits, diving gear, and inflatables that carry more than one person will need an annual permit for either Clear Lake only or outlying lakes only. This is all being done to help reduce the spread of the invasive zebra mussel. Several other measures were previously announced, including a no-wake zone near shore and overnight quiet times. You can find the full details by visiting our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Every day is hump day lately at the Toronto Zoo. What you're witnessing is a bad case of camel zoomies. The zoo's Bactrian camel calf is growing up so fast after being born at the end of April. They're inviting people to come out over the long weekend to see his beautiful little face. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. On Portage Avenue, the westbound middle lane will be closed from Carleton to Edmonton. Following the rush, the southbound curb and middle lane on Main will be closed between Bannatyne and McDermott Avenue, and the southbound curb lane on Maryland Street will be closed from Portage to Broadway. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400.
Our dirty camera shaking in the wind still, 16 degrees, so mild as far as the temperatures go, wicked as far as the winds go. They're out of the west-southwest, gusting to 73 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 52%. Those winds are some of the nastiest that I have ever experienced. I'm sure for a lot of folks, you're finding the same. We could use some rain yesterday. We got a little bit of dirty rain that fell because of all of that dust particles that were up in the air, but still, I would take dirty rain. The chance of getting it, though, it's slim. You can see in areas just to the north of us, there is this band of precipitation, but further into the south, while it doesn't seem clear at all, it is quite clear. Now, through central and northern Manitoba, nothing clear there. In fact, the precipitation that you're likely to see could be in flurry form. Cooler temperatures across northern Manitoba, winter storm warnings in effect, or for some, it's actually a freezing rain warning, and that will linger a little bit longer. For the far north, that snow is likely to taper off in the morning hours, whereas that freezing rain could last into the afternoon. And yes, that mixed precipitation with the below seasonal temperatures, that's pretty much how today will play out throughout much of northern and central Manitoba. For some, you'll see that rain falling as far south as places like Neepawa. Further into the south, it's really just those intense winds. As far as temperatures go, though, I've been saying we're close to seasonal. 20 degrees expected in Winnipeg is bang on normal for this time of year. It will likely cool down a little bit after today, but today, still with the nice temperatures, just nothing nice about these conditions as the winds could practically knock you off your feet. Thankfully, they'll be easing. Lighter winds expected for tomorrow, but those cooler temperatures will then stretch out through the long weekend. Also, some more much-needed precipitation could be showing up, and with us dropping close to the freezing mark on Tuesday, a little bit of flurry activity is possible, but a nice warm up to come right after that with the sunshine returning.
Thanks, Terry. Now let's check in now with Bo and Gabby at Bounce 99.9. It's Friday, folks.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. As we say, happy Friday. And can I just say, Danny, we are woefully underdressed. Look at you. Wow. You look like you're ready for a birthday party, and we've got one here. Bounce turns 5 years old on Monday, so all weekend long we're giving people a chance to qualify to win how much, Gabby?
$5,000. We're going to give away $5,000 on Tuesday. I would just like to say that I would wear overalls to a birthday party, Bo, but
yes,
Bounce's birthday for sure. $5,000 going to go to one of our listeners on Tuesday.
Just be listening all weekend long for those keywords starting at 8 in the morning. So we're talking about old adages, Danny, and here's one with the wind that we've had in the last day and continuing today. Here's a couple that I found about the wind. The old one about throw caution to the wind. We've all heard of that one. Here's a great one for Winnipeggers. Wind from the north, do not go forth.
Oh, I really like that.
Oh, yeah.
We hate a wind from the north.
That means you're staying at home just about every day, yeah.
Yeah. This is one, Danny, that my dad likes to use. One bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. We had to think about what it actually means, and sometimes we get it confused. Like, how many birds are there in the bush? Why is there the bush? Who's in the bush? But anyway, one bird in hand worth two in the bush means hold on to what you got, I think. Do you have any adages, Danny?
I think one apropos for all of us is the early bird gets the worm. Anyone up as early as we are knows that's that. I also had there's no such thing as a free lunch. You heard that one?
Yes, I've heard about it, but in radio we've had a couple of free lunches now and then. But there's one here that I haven't heard that Gabby uses.
Before we say goodbye, my husband uses it all the time. Worst case, Ontario. Instead of worst case scenario, worst case, Ontario, everybody.
Love that.
Well, I like Ontario.
Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you very soon. It's not something you'd expect to see while out driving, but a big bird sitting shotgun in a retro ride sure sparks some questions and conversation. CTV's Adam Sawatsky has more.
That's Evelyn Fitzsimmons on the balcony, looking through her binoculars, searching for her daughter's favorite thing. Birds.
Well, she goes out to the balcony and, you know, she looks up at them, and, you know, when the ravens do that, like, really, like, throaty sound, she's just like, blap, blap, bloop, bloop.
When Quinn's not answering the call of the wild ones perched across the street, she's asking to visit the injured ones being rehabilitated at the animal sanctuary. So you can imagine how the toddler felt when she noticed one in a car driving below them, riding on a windshield.
Yes.
That's Quinn's dad yelling from their balcony,
yes,
asking if his daughter could meet the motoring macaw named Admiral Nelson.
He's a good companion. Very good companion.
Jim Turner says Admiral Nelson first bonded with him when the bird was a baby. And for the past 25 years, the macaw has followed his man everywhere.
Been in schools, he's been in hospitals, he's been in old folks' homes. Even when I'm having a shower, he's on my shoulder.
And whenever Jim's getting the car ready, Admiral Nelson is preparing to perch on the passenger seat and seems to relish not just the rides, but the people they meet along the way.
The worst thing for him was COVID, when he had to stay home for a year and a half, and that's when he started pulling feathers out, which is what parrots do when they're unhappy.
But as soon as they returned to visiting others, Jim says Admiral Nelson's plucking decreased, feathers increased, and mood took flight.
The thing is, he's a flock animal. Humans are his flock.
And today, Admiral Nelson is expanding the flock by raising his leg to include Quinn and her family.
Kids waved at him, and that's why he started waving back like he's doing right now.
Quinn responds by raising her arm and sharing more than a few smiles.
And anytime I can put a smile on 30 people's faces is a good day.
So the next time Quinn and her mom are searching for birds up in the trees, they'll also look down on the road in the hopes of waving at their new feathered friend driving by. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Parksville.
A windy Friday morning here in Winnipeg. We'll be right back with more CTV Your Morning Winnipeg. It's Friday, May 15th. Today, teen attack charges. A Manitoba teen faces new charges, including conspiracy to commit murder and alleged school attack plot. Plus, curriculum shift. Manitoba introduces a new science curriculum this fall, with teachers raising concerns about training gaps. And skylight spotted. A glowing streak across Manitoba's skies sparks curiosity, with experts offering a grounded explanation. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. I'm Daniel Homerson, filling in for Rochelle this morning, and we are heading into the long weekend. And it's going to be a great show. Ainsley McPhail's over at Assiniboine Park, learning about the Challenge for Life. That's a Cancer Care Manitoba fundraiser. And coming up at 7:52, we're going to be joined by Film Training Manitoba and the Gimli International Film Festival about an exciting partnership and an opportunity for emerging filmmakers. Speaking of film, yesterday and even this morning looks a little like post-apocalyptic scene out there, doesn't it, Terry?
It's been wild with all of that dust that's just hanging in the air. You're right. It certainly looks wild, but it feels even more so. You can look at it from inside the window outside, but then you step out there and the wickedness of those winds could knock you off your feet. They're right now gusting to 73 kilometers per hour out of the west-southwest. 16 degrees, so temperature-wise, we're actually well above seasonal. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 52%. Yeah, a normal low temperature that you would expect to be reaching right about now, 6 degrees. We are 10 degrees above that to kick off the morning, so very, very mild and incredibly windy. We've got wind warnings in place through southern Manitoba. What we need is some rain to help keep some of that dust at bay, but it looks like the rain is going to be in areas just to the north of us, or snow further north. It doesn't read on the satellite image, but that's what you can expect through parts of central and northern Manitoba. Enough so that Environment Canada has issued winter storm warnings for the far north. Areas just south of that is more freezing rain that you can expect. And then, yes, those intense winds in areas west of Winnipeg. Winnipeg not included in that, but I was saying earlier that the winds don't respect borders. So never mind what that warning encompasses. We're all going to deal with those very strong winds. It's a difference of, say, 80K wind gusts here in the southeast compared to up to 90K wind gusts in the southwest that have prompted those wind warnings. Then the precipitation, yes, all through areas central, northern Manitoba. Flurries, some freezing rain, or some straight up showers. That's the green that you're seeing. A lot of that, as it cools down overnight, will be coming flurries. And then still tomorrow we could deal with a little bit of lingering precipitation in central Manitoba. We're going to notice these temperatures dropping off. So what could be liquid form today could show up as flurries tomorrow. And we too will notice those temperatures cooling throughout the coming long weekend. While today is still going to be seasonal, it will get chillier after this. Another round of precipitation that could be moving in by Sunday. We will welcome that precipitation in any form. I think the dust over the last few days has been enough to say, please, yes, in any form, which could in fact be flurry form by the early part of next week. It will drop as low as 1 degree, but a great big warm up on the other side of that with some sunshine returning midweek. Big old thanks to Adeline for our art today. Beautiful. It looks like a stunning sunset. And we'd love to see more of what you're working on. So send that art to Winnipeg, or no, pardon me, through our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. And when you send it there, you're entered to win a $100 gift card from Crockadoodle on Kenniston.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by Crockadoodle. Spend quality time with loved ones and paint memories together.
A major change is coming to Manitoba classrooms. A new science curriculum is being rolled out this fall, but as CTV's Joseph Bernacki reports, critics say teachers aren't ready to make the switch.
Manitoba tutors say students across the province need more help than ever, especially in science.
So it's not just, the basic memorization of the aspects of science, like the definitions or the recall or what the formulas are, but it's really the difficulty with the critical thinking, the application-based problems.
Arn says students are still falling through the cracks since the COVID-19 pandemic.
Grade 5, 6, or 7 during the pandemic years, those are like some strong, foundational years for math, where if you do go into the science in grade 10, 11, 12, a lot of science is math foundations.
This as a new science curriculum is being rolled out this fall. Arn says there are pros and cons to the changes, but she hopes it will all lead to academic success. Latika Risinghani, an assistant professor at the University of Winnipeg, says more than 90 teachers have been piloting the new program since 2024. She's been getting feedback and says it will take time to adapt.
When we think about curriculum, it's not just a single piece of document. To make it translated into lived experiences for students, teachers need to be well supported, and that's where this research comes into place.
But that early feedback also includes concerns.
So the number of teachers who piloted the curriculum used a lot of adjectives like unclear, vague, inconsistent, and so there are still some difficulties with the new curriculum.
Clausen says teachers aren't clear on how to use Indigenous ways of knowing in class. Her members say limited resources and a lack of training may impact success rates.
That some of the vague language that is used be looked over to make sure that teachers who are new to the profession and are looking at the curriculum for the first time really understand what their role is.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV News reached out to Tracy Schmidt, Minister of Education, for a comment. A spokesperson from the minister's office sent a statement saying, in part, the curriculum is designed to boost real-world problem solving and input will be used to refine it in the future. The province is looking at having a commissioner or regulator enforce its proposed ban on social media and AI chatbots for children under 16.
Who would have the ability to say, you're out of compliance with law in Manitoba. Let's talk about how you can get back into compliance. Then, of course, if that doesn't happen, you have the avenue of fines and other remedial actions.
Premier Wab Kinew announced last month there would be a ban to prevent children from certain online platforms, and he made it clear earlier this week that a lot of details have yet to be worked out, such as how to prevent kids from passing themselves off as older or the mechanisms to get tech companies to comply. Some critics have said the federal government is best positioned to enact a ban, and while Kinew says he's willing to work with Ottawa, he says Manitoba already has jurisdiction in certain areas.
Contract law, very clearly under provincial jurisdiction. Consumer protection is also under provincial jurisdiction. And of course, we also have unfair business practices, which we regulate at the provincial level. And so these tools, among others, I think give us a framework for action.
Drafting legislation would take time, and the Premier has said it could be next year before measures are in place. The legislature is set to break for the summer in less than 3 weeks. The United States government has recently released a treasure trove of previously classified UFO reports, and some new reports may have been generated right here in Manitoba Wednesday night as a strange light filled the sky. This time-lapse video shot by a security camera shows the light streaking across the sky. It was visible for about 10 minutes and was witnessed by several people across the province. But they don't need to worry about getting a visit by the men in black to keep them quiet about what they saw. According to astronomer Scott Young from the planetarium, there is a very terrestrial explanation for what it is.
It turns out that it was the body of a Chinese rocket that was launched a few hours earlier. As the boosters go up, once they're sort of done their job, they vent out any extra fuel before they re-enter and burn up in the atmosphere.
Scott Young says space companies are using a new type of fuel, which is a combination of methane and liquid oxygen, and the chemical composition is perfect for creating these kinds of displays. Look no further than Assiniboine Park if you're looking for shows and activities this summer. Assiniboine Park's Summer Entertainment Series is back. The Summer Concert Series returns Sunday and Thursday evenings beginning July 5th and running to the end of August. Take in some cool jazz while you browse the Leo Mall. Sculpture Garden Sundays at noon. Garden concerts are taking place at the Leaf every Saturday in July beginning at 11. Then in August, the ever-popular Movies in the Park are back at the Lyric Theatre. There are 2 showings Friday evening at 6:30 and 8:45. Also in August, get your body moving during Wellness Wednesdays between 6 and 7. You can find all the details by visiting assiniboinepark.ca. And the lineup has been released for the first ever FIFA World Cup 2026 halftime show. It will bring music and soccer together on the world's biggest stage, all in support of a special cause. Shakira, Madonna, and K-pop superstars BTS are set to headline the World Cup final halftime show on July 19th at New Jersey's MetLife Stadium. The match is expected to draw millions of viewers worldwide. The show, curated by Coldplay's Chris Martin, will be produced by Global Citizen and Sport FIFA's Global Citizen Education Fund, which aims to raise $100 million to expand access to education and soccer programs for children around the world. And taking a look at the current traffic situation on McPhillips, looks like a smooth drive out there. If you have any traffic tips, send them in. And we're joined by Ainsley McPhail. She's out at Assiniboine Park this morning. How are things over there, Ainsley?
So far, so good. We're pretty lucky, Danny, because we're at the duck pond. It's a little bit chillier. They've actually put us inside the structure with a nice warm fire. Challenge for Life is coming up on June 13th. 700 people registered so far, and if you have a workplace that you think you could get them to come and join, we want to get that number to over 1,200. This fundraiser has raised over $20 million for Cancer Care Manitoba, and there's different ways you can support, whether it's 200 minutes of exercise, not consecutively, there's 7 different exercise stations, or a 5K walk, or even a 20K walk. CTV's Colleen Brady and Ace Burpee and Chrissy are going to be on site too as the MC, so say hi to them and enjoy on June 13th.
Glad you're safe and sound inside there. But Terry, you are up on the roof. How's that wind howling now?
It is intense still, but not quite as bad as it was last hour. For example, those winds right now are gusting to 62 kilometers per hour. That was 73 wind gusts last hour. Now, that's not to say that they won't at times throughout this hour perhaps intensify, because throughout the morning here in the Winnipeg southeast area, up to 80 wind gusts are possible. So we will still be in for a bit of a shock as far as those winds go. Areas to the west of us could experience even stronger winds, up to 90 wind gusts, and as a result, wind warnings have been issued throughout southwestern Manitoba, but I've been saying it's not like the winds respect borders in any way. So where that wind warning is in place, don't think that we're not going to experience the intense winds here in the southeast. Now, that is a totally different story as far as precipitation goes, because areas just to the north of us could be seeing some showers. Just north of that, a band of freezing rain, and just north of that, straight up snow, which has prompted the winter storm warnings throughout the far north, or freezing rain warnings in that kind of in-between area through central and northern Manitoba, where freezing rain will be more of a factor. So a lot of precipitation in areas to the north of us. We will welcome that. We could use it. Anything to help keep the dust at bay so long as these winds remain intense.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Time now for our question of the day. We were talking to Bounce FM, and then we want to know what adage do you use most often? You can text your answers to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response, and don't forget to include your name.
Question of the day, brought to you by Provivo, Manitoba's #1 cool sculpting clinic. Science-backed body contouring.
At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing, and we want to see even more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals. Send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca. Catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. And wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is wallet. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter wallet with your info for your chance to win. The Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest, brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Good luck. 4 new charges have been laid against a teen accused of plotting an attack on a rural Manitoba school, the most serious of which are conspiracy to commit murder and counseling the offense of murder. In March, RCMP said they were alerted by Interpol and the FBI about an online conversation between 2 youths, the boy from Rivers, Manitoba, and a 15-year-old girl from Nova Scotia. The alert said they were allegedly planning to simultaneously attack their respective schools, although it was not believed to be imminent. On March 16th, the investigation led Mounties to arrest the boy while he was on the bus to school, while the girl was arrested near her home on the East Coast. At the time, both teens were charged with uttering threats, and the girl was also charged with conspiracy to commit murder. RCMP say they executed search warrants at 2 properties associated with the boy here in Manitoba, seizing electronic devices and 2 firearms owned by a relative. The boy is also facing 2 additional charges of uttering threats. He was rearrested at the Manitoba Youth Centre where he is being held. Neither of the accused can be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, and none of the charges have been tested in court. The male suspect is scheduled to make a court appearance June 4th. International graduates, workers, and community members gathered at the Manitoba Legislature Thursday to voice concerns about the situation facing international education stream candidates in the province. Participants say there's growing uncertainty around post-graduation immigration pathways. Recent program reductions and closures at MITT and cancellations at RRC Polytech has caused declining confidence among international students.
I live here is 4 years already, and my son study here, and he really like his school. And I work here is two years already, but my work permit is almost expired this month. But there's no any action for us, no any transparent policy for us. So I'm worried about it.
Gao says she's been waiting 2 years and still hasn't received a response from the province regarding her status. She's calling for a more transparent system. Rally participants say more constructive dialogue with the province is needed. And taking a look at the current traffic situation on the St. James Bridge, they're moving very smoothly. Send those traffic tips, text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
A beloved Winnipeg farmers market is making a return. St. Norbert is officially launching its summer season this weekend. The farmers market is kicking things off in style with its annual Fiddle Jam. The event coincides with World Fiddle Day. Guests are also welcome to bring an instrument. The market will be open on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the fiddle playing will commence at 11 a.m. Oasis is marking the 30th anniversary of one of their most beloved songs. The album What's the Story? Morning Glory came out in October 1995. Oasis has also released an anniversary edition of the album. They posted this new visualizer for the song, which may just have Oasis fans dreaming of their next world tour. Now, last summer we got Happy Gilmore too, and this summer we get The Hawk.
There is a saying, play it as it lies.
Oh, Mama, I'm back. Oh, I'm not back.
Will Ferrell stars in the comedy series as Lonnie Hawkins. He was the world's best golfer in 2004, and now, on the back nine of his career, he's trying to recapture some of his former glory. It starts streaming in July. And your primetime lineup starts at 7 with Celebrity Jeopardy. Next is Happy's Place and Children Ruin Everything at 8. And at 10, catch Boston Blue. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Looking through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. All of that dust and dirt left on our camera from the rain in the afternoon yesterday, which rained dirt, basically all of the dust particles that had evaporated up and then just poured right back down onto us. We are still dealing with those very strong winds. We would welcome any precipitation, even if it did include dirt, but right now it's just windy and dusty out there. And well above seasonal temperatures this morning in these mid-teens when 6 degrees is a normal low temperature. So many of us through the central part of the province are well above that, or southern part of the province. Central Manitoba is slightly cooler, but still in those high single digits or low double digits, so well above what you would expect. You do start to see those cooler temperatures, though, moving further up into northern Manitoba. And along with the cooler temperatures come the more wintry-like conditions. In fact, winter storm warnings are in effect through much of northern Manitoba. That snow throughout the day or freezing rain for some. We're just going to deal with the winds throughout the day today. Mercury on the rise to about 20 degrees by the time kids are coming home from school. We will deal with these intense winds throughout the day, though, starting to ease overnight, but the real difference in those winds will come tomorrow, hopefully. The real difference in the temperatures also comes tomorrow, and it'll remain below seasonal all throughout May long weekend, with perhaps some mixed precipitation in the early part of next week. All right, beautiful, but not ideal. That's all dust lingering in the air, making for that hazy sunset view out in the Hartney-Souris area. Thanks to Barb for sharing this. Keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
May 15th, 1919.
The Winnipeg general strike began, which paralyzed the city for about 6 weeks. The Robson Commission, which later investigated the walkout by 30,000 workers, found it had been aimed only at improving wages and labor's bargaining position. But most government bodies at the time feared a Bolshevik revolution was brewing. May 15th, 1972, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate George Wallace was shot and left paralyzed while campaigning in Maryland. The incident ended Wallace's presidential aspirations, although he did serve a 4th term as Alabama governor in the 1980s after renouncing and apologizing for his segregationist past. May 15th, 2025, Manitoba declared a state of emergency in Whiteshell Provincial Park because of wildfires. Premier Wab Kinew said officials were taking the danger seriously after 2 people died in a fire in the eastern part of the province near Lac du Bonheur. He said they wanted additional powers to enforce evacuation orders. At the time, officials said there were 21 active blazes burning in the province, and the fire in the rural municipality of Lac du Bonheur remained out of control.
The World Cup is just weeks away, and now Canadians can get a piece of the event in their pocket. CTV's Craig Krause has more.
The road to the World Cup is no longer just on the pitch. It's now landing in the hands of Canadians, coast to coast.
Ceremonial reveal.
At BC Place on Thursday morning, FIFA officials and the Royal Canadian Mint took to the field to unveil a new commemorative loonie as the clock ticks down toward opening kickoff next month.
The Royal Canadian Mint have created a coin capturing the passion, pride, and excitement that is about to sweep our country.
For the first time in tournament history, 3 countries will share hosting duties, with Vancouver and Toronto set to play host to 13 matches. The loonie, designed by Campbell River artist Glenn Green, features a hat trick of symbolism, featuring the FIFA 2026 emblem, a mosaic maple leaf, and a soccer ball frozen mid-strike. A snapshot of a country ready for its moment, under the stadium lights.
That's much better. Thank you.
And for Burnaby native and FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani, the emotion of what's coming is already hitting home.
I thoroughly enjoyed the visit a few weeks back in Winnipeg, and it was actually not only quite special, it was even emotional.
3 million of the special loonies are now entering circulation, including 2 million colorized versions, turning everyday change into a collector's piece of World Cup fever. And with kickoff now fast approaching, the buzz is building across the country. From BC Place to the world stage, Canada is getting ready to blow the opening whistle on a tournament many hope will deliver last-minute heroics, extra time drama, and a fairy tale finish. Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
CTV's Ainsley McPhail is live this morning at Assiniboine Park, learning about the upcoming Challenge for Life and how people can get moving, all for a good cause. Good morning, Ainsley.
Hi, good morning. You've got 3 options. You can walk the 5K, the 20K, or do 200 minutes of exercise. Cindy Graham is joining us now. She's doing the 5K. Tell us about why you wanted to participate.
I wanted to participate because I am both a cancer patient currently and a cancer survivor. Back in 2013, I was diagnosed with 2 types of cancer, and I received wonderful, wonderful care, early intervention and treatment with Cancer Care Manitoba, so that I could be standing before you today. Unfortunately, in 2024, I was diagnosed with a metastasis of one of the cancers and underwent 2 lung surgeries in 2025, but everything is on pace for me hopefully to be cancer-free again. And that's why I joined the walk. I saw it in an advertisement in a newsletter from Cancer Care, and I said, I can do that. So I signed up, and a few of my friends wanted to walk with me. So I signed up as a team then. We're called the Movers and the Shakers, and it's an homage to my old baseball team. We had our baseball jerseys were white with the black cow spots on them, so hence Movers and the Shakers and stuff. So I wanted to be able to give back to Cancer Care Foundation as well, and I can do that through the walk and bring awareness to my friends and family, because everybody we know has been touched in some way by cancer, some more personally. And that's why I'm here today.
Real quick, why would you encourage someone at home to participate as well?
You never know when you might need the services of cancer care. So I encourage everybody to participate, whether you're doing the 5K or the 20K or the 200 minutes. There's some way for you to participate. And short of that, if you don't want to do an athletic activity, you can always donate to the foundation.
Thank you so much. Well, it sounds like you're putting those lungs to good use, eh? Thank you so much for this chat. Stay with us till 7:42.
Thank you, Ainsley. Terry, it's been a windy start to the day yet again. How are things shaping up over the next few hours?
Well, that didn't change. It is still intensely windy, and it's not likely to change throughout the day today. So we best just hunker down, I guess. Tether yourself down is what you need to do. Find shelter, not under a trampoline. That'll be setting sail today. Here's the thing. You actually, I'm making jokes right now, but these winds are intense, and you do need to exercise a little bit of caution when you're headed out, because there's, of course, a lot of debris, garbage, and whatnot, but even things that could hurt, I suppose. Not to mention all of the dust that you're just going to find yourself eating throughout the day. You can see the poor visibility with all that dust flying around. It's 15 degrees. Those winds at the moment are out of the west-southwest, gusting to 62 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity sitting at 53%. Yeah, these winds, they're actually strong enough to do some damage, and even stronger in areas through the southwestern part of the province, where the winds could gust up to 90 kilometers per hour. We're likely to see winds in around 80 kilometers per hour as far as those wind gusts go. So Winnipeg and much of the southeast is not included in the wind warnings, but they have been issued through much of southwestern Manitoba. And then for northern Manitoba, it's actually winter storm warnings with flurries, or for some in the more central stretch, freezing rain to be a factor. Other areas further south, you will be seeing that rain. We would welcome that rain here in the south, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it. Instead, a dry day today and just incredibly windy. If we do get some rain, it'll probably be full of dirt as it was yesterday. 20 degrees. So seasonal temperatures, nothing wrong with that. But yes, these winds will be intense and still very strong overnight as we fall to 3 degrees, and finally should be seeing those winds tapering off for tomorrow. Cooler temperatures, though, to follow. 9 degrees expected. A little bit of precipitation, although indicating all the dust that's been around the last couple of days. We will welcome any of that rain or perhaps snow that comes our way after this.
Mounties are providing more details about the human remains found in the Interlake community of Riverton, and they have a suspect in custody. RCMP say the remains are those of 39-year-old Daryl Lambert, who was reported missing March 17th. The force previously said Lambert was last seen 2 days earlier at a home in the community, and his vehicle was found near the Riverton Motor Inn. The investigation led police to execute a search warrant on a property in Riverton Tuesday, and Lambert's body was found inside a vehicle. A 41-year-old man was arrested at the scene and is charged with second-degree murder. RCMP wouldn't say how the two men knew each other or how Lambert died. Well, the weather is warming up, and with it comes everyone's favorite pest, mosquitoes. But don't worry, the City of Winnipeg's annual mosquito program is officially underway. The city says crews began larviciding last week. It's a process which targets mosquito larvae in their aquatic stage before they emerge as adults. The program utilizes ground equipment and 4 helicopters. The city is also monitoring and treating more than 28,000 hectares of water on an ongoing basis.
The weather has slowed down the mosquitoes, but this is our usual start time of year. It's just with the weather conditions, it's been a slower progress on the larval development, and because of the lack of rain, there's been fewer sites to treat.
The city will notify the public 24 hours ahead of any mosquito fogging and provide daily updates on where treatment is occurring. It is also using long-lasting larvicides to limit the number of applications required over the season. As of Wednesday, the mosquito trap count was at an average of 1, which officials say is a typical amount. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has suggested the notwithstanding clause is an option to overrule a judge's decision to throw out a separation petition. First Nation leaders say it's not that simple.
And just remember one thing, they had a duty to consult, they failed to do so, and they're paying the consequences because of our constitutionally protected rights under Section 35.
The Hantavirus outbreak is The future of the potential referendum dominated the last sitting day of the Alberta legislature. The province's justice minister says the government has started the process of mounting an appeal. Premier Smith is also facing calls from separatist leaders to call a referendum herself. Prime Minister Mark Carney has also weighed in, saying the best place for Alberta to be is in Canada. The Hantavirus outbreak is impacting more Canadians, with more than 24 additional people being contacted for low-risk exposure.
We're taking a precautionary approach, and we have deemed them to be minimal or low risk as opposed to no risk. The provinces and territories, therefore, are undertaking the work to contact these 26 individuals and provide them with information and monitor them throughout this time.
Officials are now working to contact 26 Canadians who were on a flight with a known hantavirus case linked to that deadly outbreak on a cruise ship. They're calling it a precautionary approach, as these people did not sit near or come into direct contact with the infected person. Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Joss Reimer, says they are not required to isolate unless recommended by their province or territory. Officials have not released where in Canada these people live. There is another player in a potential leadership challenge against UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham is setting himself up as a challenger for the Labour Party leadership. He can only challenge Starmer as an MP, and Burnham now has a path after the local Manchester MP stepped down. As all this unfolds, Starmer is trying to keep calm and carry on with his job. He met with London police today ahead of planned weekend protests in London. And the U.S. Naval Academy's freshman class completed a grueling annual tradition. What are they doing? Well, they were tasked with scaling this granite monument that's been coated with vegetable shortening. The tradition of climbing 6-meter-tall Herndon Monument dates back to 1950. This year, the class reportedly took 2 hours and 17 minutes to get to the top. The longest recorded climb was 4 hours and 5 minutes in 1998. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. On Portage Avenue, the westbound middle lane will be closed from Carleton to Edmonton. Following the rush, the southbound curb and middle lane on Main will be closed between Bannatyne and McDermott Avenue, and the southbound curb lane on Maryland Street will be closed from Portage to Broadway. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400. And taking a look at your gas prices in Winnipeg, the average is $1.81, a small drop from yesterday, and the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.64. All this information is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
15 degrees and still incredibly windy. Those winds gusting to 62 kilometers per hour out of the west-southwest. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 53%. I was eating dirt yesterday, out for a bit of a stroll, and I just found, yeah, you're gritty, everything. Then teeth or dirt in the grill when you smile at people, all things to just keep in mind, because today will be every bit as bad as far as the airborne dust and those incredibly strong winds all throughout southern Manitoba. Now, the wind warnings themselves are actually just in areas to the west of us, and Winnipeg is not included in that. But I've been saying that the winds do not respect any kind of border as far as a wind warning goes, and up to 80 wind gusts are nearly as strong, and that's what we can expect here in the southeast. Now, in areas just to the north of us, the precipitation, which we could desperately use to keep some of that dust at bay, but it does look like for the most part that's going to remain in areas to the north of us. And in fact, the further that you go up into the north, the temperatures will be cool enough that you're going to experience snow, and winter storm warnings are in effect for the far northern part of the province, as you're likely to remain below the freezing mark. Now, there's the winter storm warnings in the most northern stretch, or freezing rain warnings in that more north central stretch. So a lot of that precipitation will be hanging around today in this kind of like wraparound effect. Central and northern Manitoba to be affected by that, and southern Manitoba, the dry conditions, yes, but those incredibly strong winds. Still with the temperatures that are on par with what is normal for this time of year, 20 degrees being that seasonal daytime high. And that's exactly what we're expecting here in Winnipeg today. But careful that those winds don't knock you over sideways or actually do some serious damage, because that's the kind of breeze that we're dealing with today, and calling it a breeze is ridiculous anyway. It'll continue into the overnight hours, but for tomorrow we should be getting a lighter wind, so that'll make things a little more pleasant, but the temperatures less so. They'll be dropping off after today.
Thanks, Terry. Ainsley McPhail is at Assiniboine Park, and she's learning about an upcoming Cancer Care Manitoba fundraiser that's so important for the work they do. Tell us a little more about it, Ainsley.
Hi, good morning. It's called Challenge for Life. Many Manitobans know about this one. Raised over $20 million over the last decade and plus. Joining me now is Shauna Turnbull, and you are a participant. Tell us a little bit about your team.
Yeah, so we are called the PACE Cadets. This is our third year joining Challenge for Life. We're doing the 5K this year. We've done it the past couple years, and we keep coming back.
And family, friends, how important is it to you as a cancer survivor to be rallied around so warmly alongside these individuals?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything to have our family and friends support us and come out and do the walk or donate financially. I think it's been such a great experience, and every year just keeps getting better.
And tell us about, more specifically, the give back portion, because there's other cancer patients too who are walking in the 5K as well.
Yeah, I think being able to provide the donations and financial support to all the services in Cancer Care Manitoba is such a huge plus. So many people are touched by cancer every single year, whether it's friends, family, themselves. I think that being able to give back to the people that help us every day through that journey is such a huge thing.
And you have some more time, but you're doing pretty well in terms of the fundraising. It's ultra impressive. How much have you raised so far, and is there a goal?
Yeah, so we are just under $8,300 right now. We've actually surpassed our original goal, but I think at this point, let's go for the 10,000.
Day of, I want you to paint a picture. I want you to tell our audience why they should either participate or donate.
Yeah, it really truly is such a loving community, and I think just the day of, you feel like you're just a part of something bigger than yourself, and it's everyone's there to support each other, to support the people who have passed, who are going through their journey, their battle, and it's just such a great day to join and such a great cause.
Thank you so much. Let's get it to 10K. Let's surpass the goal even more. Back to you.
Time now for this week's Adorable Adoptables. We begin with Abigail, 2 years old and such a little lady. She's the perfect addition to your home. Abigail is great on an adventure and loves to say hi to people, but is also so happy to relax and chill. Next up is Sheena. This 1.5-year-old has a gentle nature, but she's reactive to other dogs on leash. Sheena is very treat motivated, very smart, and a staff and volunteer favorite for office hangs and long walks. And meet Franklin. At 3 years old, he's a little clumsy and a lot of sweet. Franklin is a very cuddly cat when he wants to be, and he'll let you know when he's had enough. If you think you can offer any of these animals a good home, just head down to the Winnipeg Humane Society or give them a call. The number is on your screen. And a giant new species of dinosaur discovered in Thailand is believed to be the largest ever found in Southeast Asia.
It would have lived kind of spending most of its time just kind of browsing at the tops of trees. At its maximum size of 27 tons, it would have had very little to worry about in terms of predation.
Researchers say the long-necked herbivore was about 27 meters long and weighed as much as 27 metric tons. That's longer than a blue whale and 3 times heavier than a T-Rex. It was identified from bones found at the edge of a pond 10 years ago. A dinosaur museum in Thailand is currently exhibiting a reconstructed model of it. Well, let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 16th birthday, Braden, from Mom, Donna, Dad, Norm, and Brother Norman. Happy 14th birthday, Nicholas. Love Mom, Matthew, Victoria, and Grandma and Grandpa. Happy 17th birthday, Sundance. Love from your family. Happy 8th birthday, Tallulah. Love your family. Happy 11th birthday, Seth. Love Pepere and Mamere. Happy 10th birthday, Nicholas. Love from your mom, dad, and brother. Happy 51st birthday, Quincy, Barney, Vaughn, Boston, Daxon, and the gang at North 40 Ranch, and Buddy, of course. Happy 6th birthday, Geese. from Honey and Papa Les. And happy 60th birthday, Janice, from your teens and Les. Happy 65th birthday, Shelley. Love your husband, Adam, kids Sherry, Matthew, Stephen, Chris, and Melissa, and of course your family and friends. Happy 8th birthday, Michelle. Love Mom, Dad, Sissies, and Daisy. Happy birthday, Meryl. Love Mom, Dad, and family. Happy 18th birthday, Jerry Ray, from your mom, Dad, and your brother and sister. Happy birthday, Mary, from family and friends. Happy birthday, David. Love Dad, Everest, Amma, Grandpa, and Cheetah. Happy 10th birthday, Neil, from family and friends. Happy 5th birthday, Kygo. Love your family. Happy 7th birthday, Colton. Love Mom, Mimere, and your brothers. Happy birthday, Renee. Love your family. Happy 61st wedding anniversary, Joe and Ruth. Congratulations from your family. And Bonifet, Paulette, and the LaSalle triplets from the family. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It will also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff, Winnipeg's balloon headquarters with 3 locations. Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
20 degrees is our expected high today, which is bang on normal for this time of year. So temperature-wise, we're doing okay. Not quite as nice as last year, 25 degrees, and you can bet that probably didn't come with these kind of winds, or we would remember it. Back in 1987, I don't remember that. I was around. I just don't remember it. 34 degrees. That's a little bit hot. I'd take it though. I'd take that over this. These winds. Oh, honestly. This is something else. I was feeling a little bit peckish this morning, so I decided to come out here and eat a little more dust. It is wicked as far as the winds go, and it will remain so throughout the day today. 15 degrees is where we're sitting, so well above the seasonal lows of 6, but we're factoring in that wind. 62 clicks out of the west-southwest. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 53%. There are some heavier clouds hanging over us. There's not as much dust in the air as yesterday. Yesterday, it looked completely gray and overcast, but it had nothing to do with the clouds. Today there's a few more clouds, maybe a little less dust. Don't get me wrong, you're still going to notice it. Maybe I'm just somewhat elevated up here on the rooftop. Down at ground level, it would be worse. These winds are about to knock me over. They're going to remain strong throughout the day today. Central and northern Manitoba, you're in for precipitation. Showers through the more central stretch, freezing rain, and then flurries depending how far north you go.
If you have a great idea for a film, you could win serious cash while earning the right to show it to Manitoba film experts and a live audience. Film Training Manitoba and the Gimli International Film Festival are now accepting pitches from new and emerging filmmakers in the 15th annual RBC Emerging Filmmaker Pitch Competition. The winner could win a $15,000 prize and some serious bragging rights. Joining us now are Adam Smolik from Film Training Manitoba and the Gimli International Film Festival's Taya Zuzak. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Now, this is the first of its kind partnership between your two organizations. Adam, how did this happen?
You know, we've been working with Gimli for a number of years and had a fantastic experience working with Taya last year. And so we started to discuss some various options of finding ways that we could continue to work together. And this pitch contest that is run in partnership with RBC is a phenomenal event here for our film industry. So we were very eager to support this and come on board as an administrator to support the Gimli Film Festival and RBC with carrying this out and attracting more participants.
Now, Taya, tell me how this competition could help find that next filmmaker here in Manitoba.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. It's the biggest competition in the province. We're going into our 15th anniversary, which is very special. So the winner of the competition will receive $15,000 from RBC, as well as over $20,000 in kind from various film industry partners to help bring their production off the ground. So we see 5 individuals pitch live in front of a live audience, as well as juried professionals. We see them pitching their projects, and the winner of that goes on to bigger and better things.
Now, the Gimli International Film Festival brings thousands of people to the Interlake community every year. What does this opportunity mean for those filmmakers to get their films in front of such an audience?
Yeah, I don't love to say exposure, but definitely exposure is a big one. But it also provides networking opportunities with other filmmakers and other creatives that come to the festival, but also the opportunity to meet industry partners and learn more about what's happening in the province. We have a really strong film community here, and it's really nice to stay connected.
Run us through, how does this competition work?
Yes, so applications are open now from May 15th to June 15th, and you submit via jot form a little bit about the project, you submit your budget and sort of what your idea is. That goes through a juried process, and then the 5 selected winners go to pitch on Saturday, July 25th at the Gimli Theatre in front of 240 people, and from there the live jury adjudicates and selects the winner, and that's announced live in front of everyone.
From past winners, how have they taken that money and kind of, you know, put it towards their career?
Yes, so every year the winner of the pitch competition is able to premiere their film at the Gimli International Film Festival the next year. So this year we'll be showing Andy Brown's Half Naked, which is very exciting. He was the pitch winner last year, and then, yeah, they are able to take it on a festival run afterwards if they so choose.
And Adam, how $15,000, that's a pretty big chunk of change. How can that be so transformative for filmmakers?
It allows them to get some support from working professionals if they wish to hire cinematographers or editors, and it just puts them in a position where they're able to properly fund some aspects of their project, but also some of the other services, the donations that are received, whether it's Cinelease, which has come on board as a equipment supplier, or the various other partners like the National Screen Institute of Canada that comes on board. It just really helps a person get to a whole other level.
Awesome. Well, when is the Gimli Film Festival happening?
Yeah, so this year it's July 22nd to 26th.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Taya and Adam, for stopping by this morning, and good luck to those filmmakers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello there, Adam Scully here in the TSN Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Thursday. For it, let's go to Anaheim. Golden Knights taking on the Ducks. Mitch Marner sprung on a breakaway with Jackson Lacombe all over him. Hits the brakes. What a move by Marner. Fakes out Lucas Dostal, somehow gets creative with this spectacular finish. Marner continuing to get it done in the playoffs as he extends his postseason point lead. It's your must-see moment from Thursday. And tonight on TSN NBA playoffs, Game 6 between the Pistons and Cavaliers. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's all for now from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
It's Friday, May 15th. Property damage and power disruptions are the order of the day as devastating wind gusts persist across much of Manitoba this morning. New curriculum. Manitoba classrooms will soon see big changes to the way science is taught. Questions swirl, though, as to whether teachers and students are ready for the revisions. And you've heard of those behind-the-scenes tours of well-known buildings under the Doors Open banner? Well, this Toronto example takes the whole concept to a new and unprecedented heights. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Daniel Halverson, filling in for Rochelle Legacy this morning. I said March there. Maybe they got blown back a couple of months with all these winds we've been feeling. Now this morning, it's Asian Heritage Month here in Manitoba, and we're going to learn a little bit about Filipino culture a little later this hour. And Ainsley McPhail's over at Assiniboine Park talking about Challenge for Life. Now, The wind is the big talker today, and another one bites the dust, keeps playing in my head, as you've mentioned, you know, picking out little grit in your teeth.
It is intensely windy, and yes, all of that dust airborne, whipping around and reducing the visibility, as you can see, taking a look outside right now. 15 degrees is where we're sitting, so temperature-wise, we're well above seasonal, with those winds out of the west-southwest gusting to 62 kilometers per hour. Pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 53%, and yeah, you really do eat it when you step outside. We're dealing with the dust. We could use some rain, although the bit of rain we saw yesterday, it was really just dirt falling from the sky, but still, it would help dampen some of that airborne dust. Areas just to the north of us, that's where all the precipitation is today, in liquid form in areas just north of Winnipeg and just north of the Yellowhead Highway. But once we're starting to look further into the north, that's when you're seeing more wintry-like conditions. A winter storm warning is actually in effect through the most northern part of the province. Freezing rain is expected in areas just south of that. But right down into the south, that is the wind warning, where winds could be gusting in excess of 90 kilometers per hour. Winnipeg is not included in that because our winds are just expected to gust to 80 kilometers per hour. Yeah, I do say that a little bit cheekily because the winds will be intense for everybody today. And then, yes, there's this system of precipitation that'll linger through central and northern Manitoba as those temperatures start to drop off overnight. What was showers could change to flurries and still take us right into Saturday. We do have the possibility of seeing some precipitation later this weekend. We're also in for some cooler temperatures after today. So this is what could be moving in as we're looking into Sunday, into Monday, and then into Tuesday too. Precipitation could endure, and with those temperatures getting close to the freezing mark, we might even see some flurries tucked in there. And a big thanks to Adeline, 7 years old, who sent us today's art that we're showcasing, and we'd love to see whatever it is that you're working on. So send your art through our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and when you do, you're entered to win a $100 gift card from Crockadoodle on Kenniston.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by Crockadoodle. Spend quality time with loved ones and paint memories together.
And as parts of the province have been dealing with major winds, it's left a trail of destruction in its wake. Take a look at this video sent in by Darren Sharon. He farms just southeast of Russell. As you can see, the roof on his mobile home was ripped off by powerful winds. He describes the damage that ensued after he witnessed the wind tear off the roof just as he pulled into his driveway.
And but her room, everything's gone. It just got sucked right up, and now it just rained on the bed and everything's kind of damaged in there. And so that's kind of a write-off. And then the kitchen area is kind of a write-off, and then this area, so far, it's kind of good, but I could see light coming through where the ceiling's being pulled up, and now it's kind of pushed back down.
This wasn't the only location to see damage. In Niverville, trees were uprooted and crashed into sheds and light poles. Here it caused the line to arc and the tree caught fire. Manitoba Hydro and the fire department were on scene last night dealing with the damage. And a major change is coming to Manitoba classrooms. A new science curriculum is being rolled out this fall. Some critics say teachers and students may not be ready to make the switch.
Grade 5, 6, or 7 during the pandemic years, those are like some strong, like foundational years for math, where if you do go into the science in grade 10, 11, 12, like a lot of science is math foundations.
Chelsea Arns of Tudor Bright says students are still falling through the cracks since the COVID-19 pandemic, especially in science. This as a new science curriculum is being rolled out this fall. Arns says there are pros and cons to the changes, but she hopes it will all lead to academic success. More than 90 teachers have been piloting the new program since 2024 and providing feedback, and that early feedback also includes concerns.
The number of teachers who piloted the curriculum used a lot of adjectives like unclear, vague, inconsistent, and so there are still some difficulties with the new curriculum.
Lillian Clausen of the Manitoba Teachers Society says teachers aren't clear on how to use Indigenous ways of knowing in class. Her members say limited resources and a lack of training may impact success rates. CTV News reached out to the Education Minister for comment. A spokesperson from the minister's office sent a statement saying in part the curriculum is designed to boost real-world problem solving and any input will be used to refine it in the future. Doors Open Toronto is giving people an incredible look at one of the city's most incredible sites.
Have staff and contractors constantly in those spaces, and it takes a lot to sort of clean them up and get them ready for the public.
For the first time, people will be able to get a behind-the-scenes look at the CN Tower. This comes as the tower marks its 50th anniversary. Most people come for the view, but there's no views on this tour unless you count the chance to look up from the bottom or down from the top from the inside. Taking a look at the current traffic situation on Osborne, a little back up there, but not too bad. If you have any traffic tips, text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
And CTV's Ainsley McPhail is at Assiniboine Park inside this morning, not out in the wind, learning a little bit about the Challenge for Life.
Hi, good morning. I'm joined by Chief of Population Oncology, Donna Turner. Cancer care doing so much for Manitobans, and Challenge for Life is a great way to give back. Donna, you see it firsthand, so that's why you do the 5K. You're actually walking alongside patients.
That's right. This is a really exciting event for us at Cancer Care Manitoba. Not only is it raising money through the foundation for all the programs that we do, but I get to see patients every day in the building, and we get to see all the strides that we make in terms of supporting those patients, the research that has changed, the treatment opportunities that they have, and just all the things that we can do to support them.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but you see the resilience in their faces.
Oh, absolutely. It's really exciting to see this. We see this in the clinic, but when you come to the Challenge for Life walk, you actually get to walk with patients and family members who are supporting them. It's one of the reasons that I do the 5K instead of the 20K. We see so many patients and families there, and it's just so inspiring to see people out there having had that lived experience of cancer, and yet there they are out walking and cheering on others, but also it's really great to see the support that they have.
Yeah, over 1,000 people. That's in front of, I guess an audience, but behind the scenes, that's when you get to see some of the real magic happening.
Yeah, we do see a lot of things happening. So the money that is being raised by the Cancer Care Foundation through the Challenge for Life walk is helping us in so many ways. So one of the things is that the research that's happening is really telling us so much more about the treatment opportunities that we have out there. New treatments are being developed. We're also learning a lot about how we can reduce our risk for cancer and how we can find cancer early through screening. So those things in research are really important, and then we see them actually translated into real life, and that we couldn't do without the support of the foundation and other donations.
And from what I've read, physical activity is always so important. Maybe choose the 200 minutes of exercise with Challenge for Life.
That sounds great. Looking forward to that, Ainsley. A win for Canadian authorities, long frustrated by illegal guns being smuggled in from the U.S. and used to commit crimes on this side of the border. A joint investigation has busted a ring trafficking firearms into Canada. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Melvin has the details.
Authorities in New Hampshire say they've cracked an international gun trafficking ring that smuggled dozens of illegal firearms from the U.S. into Canada through tribal lands that straddle both countries.
If you traffic firearms across borders, or if you help arm criminal organizations, federal law enforcement will find you, investigate you, and prosecute you.
Officials say 5 people have pleaded guilty, 8 others indicted by a federal grand jury, charged with trafficking firearms. If convicted, they could face decades in prison. Court documents say members of the Akwesasne Reservation enlisted people to purchase the firearms through licensed dealers for those prohibited from owning guns legally. These are some of the weapons traced back to suspected members of organized crime.
Several of which were subsequently recovered at various crime scenes, to include kidnapping and attempted murder in Canada.
Last Friday, 3 men, including 2 Canadians, appeared in a New York court charged with gun smuggling after they found a suitcase packed with dozens of rifles and stolen guns. It's long been a problem. Canadian authorities recover about 17,000 to 20,000 crime guns a year, and up to half are smuggled into the country from the United States. The district attorney praised Canadian and U.S. cooperation along with tribal police for taking down this gun smuggling operation. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
A look through the CTV Live Eye brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Cameras shaking out there. Those winds are intense. And then, of course, there's just the dirt flying around, so the visibility is even poor if you're stepping outside. Worse in those outlying areas, and worse where we haven't had significant amounts of precipitation because all of that dust is just airborne as a result, whereas there is going to be a little more precipitation through central, northern Manitoba. But that's not ideal anyway. We'll get to that in just a second. So 15 degrees is where we're sitting right now in Winnipeg. You're seeing those more high single digits through the west central part of the province, double digits on the east central side, further up into northern Manitoba, and you're waking up to temperatures below the freezing mark. And that's where the winter storm warnings are issued. Flurries expected across northern Manitoba, freezing rain through the more central stretch, straight up showers through more of south central Manitoba, and then furthest into the south where we are is just going to be a windy, dry, likely day. There's the possibility of some precipitation, but it is very slim. And temperatures getting up to 20 degrees, starting out at 15. So we're already about 10 degrees above seasonal, and 20 is normal for a high temperature. But it does come with those intense winds, and there's nothing pleasant about today. After that, though, winds will ease for tomorrow, but the temperatures drop off considerably. Much needed precipitation, possibly in flurry form as we're looking into the early part of next week. But following that, a nice big warm up with the mercury on the rise as that sunshine returns again. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
With a summit between President Donald Trump and China's Xi Jinping ending without any path to resuming flows through the Strait of Hormuz, the impasse between the U.S. and Iran is moving back into focus. Traders will now watch the next steps the two countries take after more than 2 months of war. Oil is up today and markets are off as we end the week. Even with a small uptick in Canadian home sales activity in April, the Bank of Montreal says the key sales to new listings ratio careened lower to just 45.6% last month, while the Canadian Real Estate Association asserts that a ratio of 45 to 65% is good. It's a balanced market that still matches the lowest ratio since the Great Recession of 08-09, notes the bank. Porter Airlines is launching 2 new routes, expanding its Hamilton network across Canada. Non-stop service between Hamilton's YHM and Winnipeg's YWG began yesterday, operating up to 6 round trips a week. Hamilton St. John's takes off today with daily service by late June. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
If you're in the market for a used vehicle, the number of kilometers on the odometer is likely something you're taking into consideration. However, a new report suggests odometer fraud is on the rise. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
CTV News has done many stories on odometer fraud. Francisco Jardim bought a truck with 187,000 kilometers. Its actual mileage was 455,000.
I feel ripped off.
Dennis Estevez bought a vehicle with 184,000 kilometers. Its true mileage was 320,000.
Clearly, it was rolled back.
A new report from Carfax found last year in Canada it flagged more than 20,000 vehicles with rolled back odometers. They suspect the actual number that's been tampered with is much higher. With new technology, it's easy to do.
You can go to Amazon and spend $200 or $300 and buy a tool to plug into your car and manipulate the electronic odometer all day long. So that does not protect anyone.
The Ontario Motor Vehicle Industry Council, OMVIC, says its latest report shows more than 2,300 dealers, salespersons, and curbsiders were charged last year, resulting in $1.9 million in fines. About 1,500 cases involved curbsiders, and many of those involved odometer fraud.
They are going to try to make that vehicle look better than it is, and they're going to want to sell it for more.
The good news is that it's not just an odometer that records a vehicle's mileage. Most cars now come with a black box and several electronic modules that also record how far a car has traveled. A mechanic with a scan tool can find the true mileage fairly easily. To avoid rolled back odometers, purchase a used vehicle information package and a Carfax vehicle history report. Check the seller's ID to make sure they're the lawful owner of the car. Ask for service records and have the vehicle checked by your mechanic. While manufacturers could do more to stop odometer scams, Carfax says criminals are never far behind.
As quickly as the OEMs improve their technology, the hackers are figuring it out.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Tinnitus affects almost 40% of Canadians every year. It's a ringing in the ears that can be debilitating and even life-threatening in rare cases. CTV's Pauline Chan has more.
I first thought that it was my loud refrigerator and didn't realize, in fact, the hissing sound was coming from me, from my ears.
Jim Gray first experienced tinnitus in 2020.
Tinnitus is the perception of sound that is not actually in the environment.
I often couldn't concentrate. It was doing a number on my mental health. And I couldn't sleep at night without taking heavy medication.
It was so bad he feared he might end up taking his own life, like a few severe tinnitus patients he had read about.
I try to manage it through exercise, through diet, through acupuncture, even tried some cognitive therapy, which was helpful, but didn't attack the underlying problem.
Almost 37% of Canadians have experienced tinnitus within the past year.
Audiologist Maria Simone says tinnitus is often connected with hearing loss due to aging or loud environments. And in the absence of sound, the brain becomes hyperactive in certain regions. Last year, Gray traveled to the U.S. to try a new device called the Linear. It pairs sound from headphones with stimulus from a tongue-tip device.
It's completely changed my life. Within 3 days of trying the Linear, my tinnitus had been reduced by 90%.
Bimodal neuromodulation. Now that's a mouthful, but it basically means that bimodal means that we stimulate two senses at once, and neuromodulation means it makes changes in the brain.
CEO Ross O'Neill says the device has just been approved by Health Canada and is already used across Europe and the US.
The most important thing is that tinnitus patients get into the care of an ENT or audiologist, and then they can decide what is the most appropriate treatment for them.
Right now it costs several $1,000s, but the manufacturers hope the Linear will soon be covered by insurance. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
You know, I was just standing out here pleasantly. There was a break in the winds, and like for about a minute and a half, I was like, oh, maybe they seem to have eased. They just picked up again as we were coming on air. So yes, we'll deal with that wind. And I shouldn't have thought maybe they're easing. We're expecting this wind to remain intense throughout the entire day and even overnight. 15 degrees is where we're sitting right now. So as far as temperatures go, we are well above normal. 6 would be a seasonal low. And we're obviously almost 10 degrees above that with those gains that will still make today, putting us up around 20 degrees, bang on what you would expect for this time of year. It's the winds that leave things less than ideal as they're gusting right now to 69 kilometers per hour out of the west, and they're likely to remain strong or even get stronger, up to 80k winds possibly through the southeastern part of the province, whereas areas just to the west of us are actually under wind warnings where winds could be gusting to 90 kilometers per hour or in excess of. Not that our winds aren't quite as strong, but not enough to prompt. It's really just a technicality who gets the wind warning issued. We'll all deal with these winds throughout the day. And then there's the precipitation through central northern Manitoba, changing into more frozen form the further north you go. So some showers just north of us, but further north, freezing rain. Further north yet, that's where the winter storm warnings are in effect. And that eerie apocalyptic scene, this particular photo taken out in the Hartney-Souris area due to all that dust flying around in the air yesterday. Thanks to Barbara for sharing this shot with us. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Well, we all know us Manitobans love free perks and loyalty programs. Now TD is challenging you to think differently about how you can use their reward points in everyday life. To explain, we're joined by the Vice President of Loyalty Canadian Personal Banking at TD, Annlyn Davidson. Good morning, Annlyn. So nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you as well.
Well, this is a very interesting topic. Now, why did TD create the Living on Rewards Challenge? And really, what does it say about how Canadians are thinking about reward points today?
Yeah, so many Canadians don't actually realize the flexibility of programs like TD Rewards and just the variety of ways that the points can actually be redeemed. They're either sitting on large balances of points, and in fact, 1 in 5 Canadians have told us that they redeem points for things they didn't really want. So by following the TD's Living on Rewards Challenge, we hope that clients can see how rewards can fit naturally in their day-to-day lives to offset for, everyday purchases or smaller experiences.
And let's talk a bit more about that. How can people start thinking about rewards as part of their day-to-day spending?
Yeah, so as costs continue to rise, as you know, rewards are starting to play a more practical role in helping Canadians offset essentials like groceries, bills, and smaller day-to-day purchases. So a good starting point is to really think about rewards as part of the spending that you're already doing, not as something separate from it. And actually, more than half of Canadians with a loyalty program already use their points to offset day-to-day purchases like groceries or bills.
And this is fascinating for me. I'm one of those people who tend to hoard my points and then use them in one big chunk. So this is fascinating. All right, now the Living on Rewards Challenge follows creator Mel Huang as she shows what it could look like to live on TD reward points for a full week. What kinds of everyday moments will audiences see her explore?
Yeah, so you'll see Mel use her points in everyday moments like buying groceries, pick up a coffee, she'll go to a yoga class, she'll take her friend out to dinner. And as you mentioned, for many Canadians, points can still feel like something to save up for later and for a big goal. And hopefully this will help Canadians see that you can actually use your points more intentionally and think of it as part of your day-to-day spending as opposed to really having to put those points to the side and save them for something big.
All right, now the final question I'll ask you, Anne Lynn, is some Canadians save points for big moments like me, while others redeem them quickly. Now, how can people decide when it just makes sense to use rewards for everyday purchases versus saving them for something larger?
Yeah, and there's no right way to use rewards. I think the best approach is to be intentional about what feels more valuable in the moment. And for some people, that might mean saving them for a bigger goal. But for others, you want to stretch your budget, you had an unplanned expense, you may want to consider using them for your everyday purchases just so you can stay on track. So it's really about understanding the flexibility that you have with programs like TD Rewards in terms of how you can use those points, being intentional and, using them in moments that feel more meaningful to you and being intentional about that.
Anne Lynn, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is wallet. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter wallet with your info for your chance to win. The Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Tune in Tuesday for another code word. Good luck.
I look outside and you can still see a bit of that haze, all due to the dust that lingers in the air and the wind shaking the camera. Yes, they remain strong out of the west, gusting to 69 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, humidity sitting at 54%. 15 degrees, that's where we're sitting as far as temperatures go, which is well above seasonal. 6 would be a normal low, so we barely dropped off overnight. We ended up staying in the mid-teens and we'll still make some gains, putting us on par with what is normal for this time of year. Can you get outside and enjoy it? Well, not unless you want to eat dirt. That's exactly what's going on as all of this dust is blowing around. We would welcome some precipitation. I mean, yesterday's rain had dirt in it. It was dirty rain that fell. I feel like everybody's going to be visiting car washes today. But no, don't visit a car wash today. You're wasting your money. I promise you that right now, because these winds will be intense. It's areas just to the north of us where there's going to be precipitation. It doesn't read through central and northern Manitoba, but some freezing rain or flurries the further north you go with the cooler temperatures that go along with that changing precipitation. We're not likely to see much of that. There's a possibility of some brief passing showers dirty rain again, just because of all of those dust particles in the air. 20 degrees, though, that's where we're headed as far as temperatures go. That is bang on normal for this time of year. Yes, those winds intense once again out of the south, at times gusting to 80 kilometers per hour. 60K wind gusts still expected overnight as we fall to 3 degrees. Tomorrow will be way less windy, but a little bit cooler. However, I think people would be happy just to get a break from those winds. 9 degrees expected as we're moving into May long weekend, with precipitation to come. Obviously, we need it with all of this dust flying around. That precipitation could come in many forms, including snow. Not many forms, but like rain or snow. And then we get a warm up just after that.
4 new charges have been laid against a teen accused of plotting an attack on a rural Manitoba school, the most serious of which are conspiracy to commit murder and counseling the offense of murder. In March, RCMP said they were alerted by Interpol and the FBI about an online conversation between 2 youths, the boy from Rivers, Manitoba, and a 15-year-old girl from Nova Scotia. The alert said they were allegedly planning to simultaneously attack their respective schools, although it was not believed to be imminent. On March 16th, the investigation led Mounties to arrest the boy while he was on the bus to school, while the girl was arrested near her home on the East Coast. At the time, both teens were charged with uttering threats, and the girl was also charged with conspiracy to commit murder. RCMP say they executed search warrants at 2 properties associated with the boy here in Manitoba, seizing electronic devices and 2 firearms owned by a relative. The boy is also facing 2 additional charges of uttering threats. He was rearrested at the Manitoba Youth Centre, where he is being held. Neither of the accused can be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, and none of the charges have been tested in court. The male suspect is scheduled to make a court appearance June 4th. And a flyby planned at 17 Wing Thursday afternoon was postponed due to the weather. The Royal Canadian Air Force now plans to hold the flyby on Wednesday, May 20th. It will honor the end of the Hercules refueling missions. The Prime Minister says he's open to the idea of selling public assets to help fund infrastructure across the country.
Are there assets that the federal government has that we could recycle the investment into supporting building new assets?
Yesterday's announcement that Ottawa is considering such a move comes after both the November federal budget and April spring economic statement mentioned exploring new ownership options for Canada's federally owned airports. Later today, Carney is expected to formally announce changes to industrial carbon pricing in Alberta. And Honda's decision to park the billion-dollar-plus Ontario plant comes at a time when new EV sales have shifted into overdrive. March saw an increase of almost 75% from a year ago compared to gas-powered car sales, which are down. CTV's Adrian Gabriel looks at what's driving these decisions.
An acceleration in electric vehicle sales is driving a surging trend across the country. This new Statistics Canada report has revealed that in March, there were more than 21,000 new zero-emission vehicle sales in Canada, a spike of more than 74% year over year.
They are in high demand. So is there a future for electrified vehicles? I mean, there's a present and a future for electrified vehicles.
And it's all Canadian.
In February, the federal government announced a new 5-year EV incentives program, offering rebates of up to $5,000. Automotive insiders believe it's in part a driving factor.
The surge of gas prices and the return of the federal EV incentives is helping to drive those sales.
Another variable being cited, Canadian consumers becoming more familiar and open to the idea of going green.
We have consumers who have experience, their neighbors have experience with EVs, and they're trusting them.
New EV sales made up more than 12% of all vehicles sold in March, up from just over 6% during the same month last year. While Honda has indefinitely suspended its $15 billion electric vehicle complex in Ontario. In St. Thomas, Ontario, construction of a massive EV gigafactory battery plant is well underway, with production set for next year. Ottawa has also opened the door for 49,000 Chinese-built electric vehicles to enter the Canadian market. Demand from budget-conscious consumers is expected to be strong.
We're also hearing about exciting hybrids in the pipeline, and the variety of consumer choice is going to be building from all over the world.
One roadblock impeding EV growth, according to those watching the trends, is consumer anxiety over accessibility to functioning charging stations in communities across the country. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Let's take a look at traffic. That's Portage Avenue at Polo Park, moving very nicely there, but we do have one advisory for you. McGregor Street at Church Avenue is closed in both directions due to an ongoing police investigation. Motorists are asked to avoid the area and use alternate routes. Updates will be provided when available. And taking a look at your gas prices in Winnipeg, the average is $1.81, a small drop from yesterday, and the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.64. All this information is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Time now for your answers to our question of the day. Today we asked, what proverb or adage do you use most often? Don't judge a book by its cover, shared Susan. Teresa says, if you know, you know. Carol's mom used to say, actions speak louder than words, and the early bird gets the worm. Cheryl texted, tell the truth and you never have to worry about being caught in a lie. For Greg, it's have faith, never trust. And a viewer shared, don't put the cart before the horse. Thanks for your responses.
Question of the day, brought to you by Provivo, Manitoba's #1 cool sculpting clinic, science-backed body contouring.
And our Ainsley McPhail is at Assiniboine Park this morning, and she's been learning all about Cancer Care Manitoba's Challenge for Life. How's it going over there, Ainsley?
It's going quite well, and I know that this fundraiser is also going to go well. 700 people registered so far. That number is certainly going to be higher. President and CEO of Cancer Care, Patty Smith, is joining us. Oh, how exciting is it leading up to this event?
Well, it's been 19 years, and this is one of the most exciting months of every year that we have. We'll have, you said 700 participants. We're hoping to get close to 1,000, and we cannot wait for June 13th.
What does that day look like for the folks who haven't been yet?
Well, the day is incredible. There's an incredible energy, but what brings the energy to Challenge for Life is not only the 1,000 participants that will share the day with us, many of them cancer survivors, patients, or people that love those people, but behind them are probably close to 9,000 donors who have donated close to 11,000 donations. So this village, this tent, if you will, is remarkable, and I think speaks to the community who has been impacted by cancer all across the province, wanting to support how they can.
And there's different ways to do that. You don't have to walk the 20K. If you're up for it, hey, that's quite impressive, but you don't have to do that. There's different ways to exercise.
The 20K was kind of the original plan, and post-COVID, we added the 5K, which we've been really happy to have seen evolve. It gives people more accessibility options. Families can come, young children can walk, patients in treatment can walk. So there's more people that can participate than before. And of course, the Work It, which again has been back in the last few years, that's what I do, is perhaps the most fun 200 minutes that a person will spend in a year. It's wonderful.
I love to hear that. You're also encouraging corporate groups to join as well.
Corporate groups join. We have a number of corporate teams already registered. This event is supported broadly by the community, but also by sort of corporate Manitoba and also by many individuals. Again, I think speaking to the impact of cancer and the fact that people want to do something about it, and this is one of the things that they can do.
Thank you so much. Such a beautiful morning for those folks in Winnipeg. Colleague Brady will be there, Ace Burpee, and Chrissy Troy, as well as the MCs.
That's a pretty good lineup, Ainsley. Thank you so much. And we're joined now by Terry up on the roof once again. And how's the wind up there now?
No change, honestly, and I'm starting to contemplate whether I want to bother with my walk home or how I'm going to get there. Fly. But here's the, I didn't mean that wasn't flashing you. That was like, oh, the flying squirrel with the wings out. Anyway, here's the thing. You walk home and you know you're going to eat dirt along the way and perhaps get smacked with a few pieces of garbage that are flying around on these winds. And then perhaps walking at an angle or getting pushed over, depending what direction you're going, because these winds right now are gusting to 69 kilometers per hour, but could even get stronger throughout the day. And even just standing here on the rooftop, completely anchored, like I am like braced, and I feel the wind kind of pushing me over, so I can only imagine what the walk will be like. Well, it will be a windy day all across southern Manitoba, but a warm one, whereas things start to cool down as we move throughout the northern parts of the province. Areas just to the north of us will experience some rain today, but then further north, some freezing rain or straight up snow further north yet, with winter storm warnings in effect across northern Manitoba. Honestly, the way I am braced right now to not blow over. Freezing rain through kind of the more north central part, and then just north of us, some precipitation, which we would welcome. It would maybe help with all of this dust, although the rain yesterday was just dusty, dirty rain. Later this weekend, we are likely to experience some of that precipitation, and we should get a break from these winds as early as tomorrow. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
The World Cup is just weeks away, and now Canadians can get a piece of the event in their pocket. CTV's Craig Krause has more on the new commemorative coin unveiled as Canada gears up to co-host football's biggest tournament.
The road to the World Cup is no longer just on the pitch. It's now landing in the hands of Canadians, coast to coast.
Ceremonial reveal.
At BC Place on Thursday morning, FIFA officials and the Royal Canadian Mint took to the field to unveil a new commemorative loonie as the clock ticks down toward opening kickoff next month.
The Royal Canadian Mint have created a coin capturing the passion, pride, and excitement that is about to sweep our country.
For the first time in tournament history, 3 countries will share hosting duties, with Vancouver and Toronto set to play host to 13 matches. The loonie, designed by Campbell River artist Glenn Green, features a hat trick of symbolism, featuring the FIFA 2026 emblem, a mosaic maple leaf, and a soccer ball frozen mid-strike. A snapshot of a country ready for its moment under the stadium lights.
That's much better. Thank you.
And for Burnaby native and FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani, the emotion of what's coming is already hitting home.
I thoroughly enjoyed the visit a few weeks back in Winnipeg, and it was actually not only quite special, it was even emotional.
3 million of the special loonies are now entering circulation, including 2 million colorized versions, turning everyday change into a collector's piece of World Cup fever. And with kickoff now fast approaching, the buzz is building across the country. From BC Place to the world stage, Canada is getting ready to blow the opening whistle on a tournament many hope will deliver last-minute heroics, extra time drama, and a fairy tale finish. Craig Krause, CTV News, Vancouver.
May is Asian Heritage Month. It's a chance to celebrate the people, culture, and impact Manitobans of Asian descent have on our community. There are many different ways to celebrate, including honoring a Filipino folk dance group with 5 decades of history here. Last year, the province announced June 2nd as the Magdagarat Philippines Day to recognize Manitoba's Filipino heritage, arts, and culture. Joining us now are Goldie Garcia and Lauralee Buenaventura from Magdaragat. Did I say it right?
You did. You did a great job.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, Goldie, tell us why it's so important for Manitobans to recognize Asian Heritage Month.
Well, we have a big community here, and so to recognize all Asian in Manitoba is very important. So we are just one part of it, and so to be recognized and to be able to celebrate with fellow Manitobans and Winnipeggers for sure here is very important.
What kind of impact has Manitoba's Asian community had on, the greater province?
Oh, it has a great opportunity in terms of the workforce, just celebrating diversity, and just including everyone and having the chance to for everyone to express who they are and their identity.
Now, Lauralee, tell us about this folk dance group and kind of how it was created and its ongoing impact.
Thanks so much. So it was created 50 years ago by my uncle Dante Buenaventura, and it was really created to basically share the performing arts and culture of the Philippines to the wider community, but it was also an opportunity for us to learn about our own culture as Filipinos. So really, my uncle, when he created the organization, he had young people in mind in terms of ensuring that they stay connected to their culture. So really, it was an opportunity to build community, to learn about our culture, and to explore our identity as Filipinos and as Filipino Canadians.
What can people expect from one of the shows?
Well, I have to say, you can expect pretty much everything. We're known for being magic on stage with Magdadagat Philippines Incorporated. There's a lot of dance, there's a lot of poetry, there's song, dance, and I think there's also an opportunity for people to also come and join us in performing as well.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing there's some very good food available as well?
All the time.
Now, you guys have an upcoming event tomorrow, but it's already sold out.
It's already sold out. So
Tell us about the event, though.
So we are having a big gala event, so Manitoba style, Winnipeg style. So it's a dinner and show followed by a social. So anything like Winnipeg, right? So our guests are treated to a show that's broken up into two pieces. First half is dedicated to our founder, and the second half is dedicated to what Magdadagat is and will be in the future.
Now, if people didn't get tickets to this show tomorrow, they'll have an opportunity this summer to kind of get all in Folklorama, right?
Yeah, so they can come see us at the Pearl of the Orient Philippine Pavilion. We are the first week, August 2nd to 8th, at St. Norbert Community Center.
Can we talk a little bit about the food when you go to Folklorama?
Oh, yes.
What are we getting?
So you're getting your chicken adobo, which is your braised chicken, your sauteed noodles, which is pancit, and of course, the pork barbecue.
Awesome. Now, for people that want to learn a little bit more, where can they go? Where can they find more information?
Well, I would say there are so many Filipinos here in Winnipeg, and just getting to know the people in our community and also joining any of the events that we do with Magdadagat is probably a really great opportunity to learn more about the Philippines and the Filipino people here in Winnipeg.
Well, Laura Lee and Goldie, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and happy Asian Heritage Month.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. We are sitting at 15 degrees. That is well above seasonal. A normal low would be around 6 degrees, so soared beyond that yesterday, and I mean, not that, but those daytime highs. It's the morning temperatures that are well above seasonal. The expected highs will be bang on normal. The winds, unfortunately, will be a disaster again today. Right now, gusting to 69 clicks out of the west, the pressure rising, the humidity at 54%. You can just see, looking out there, how little you can see. The reduced visibility due to the dust. We could use some rain. It doesn't look like we're going to get it. Southern Manitoba, clear or dusty, dirty, but that rain just to the north of us. Freezing rain through central Manitoba, snow throughout the north. Further up you go, you're going to experience the more precipitation. We've got 20 degrees on tap for today with those very strong winds, which should ease for tomorrow. But after this, some slightly cooler temperatures. They're going to last all throughout May long weekend with a warm up to come with some sunshine, but it's going to take a few days, a few soggy days throughout the weekend. We'll be back right after this break.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
And we're going to send folks home with a little, some fun videos to go into the long weekend today.
Let's do it.
Why not, right? So check this out. This duo of daughters are as different as night and day. The younger one prefers all things princess, while the older one gravitates towards guns instead of gowns. Their mom Marley captured the video saying, "Same mom, same house, two completely different species."
Yeah, you put some Nerf darts in there, yeah. I'm with that one.
It's one thing to be different from your sibling. It's another to forget you have one altogether.
Squeaky.
Crew's in there.
What's up with Squeaky?
Oh, look at his face. The big sis forgot her little bro was in the basket and stepped right on him. They both freeze and stare at each other, telepathically checking in before moving on until their next unexpected meeting.
Oh, please. My siblings stepped on me knowing full well I was there. You survived. That's what siblings do.
All right, we're going to leave you with maybe the best sound ever. What? What? Nothing is funnier to this little man than mom and dad. It's pretty hard not to smile when you hear this. Babies laughing and giggles are infectious.
That truly is the best sound.
Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here next week.
Long weekend. Woo!